Welcome back to Bready for Game 12 of the Cricket Ireland IP20 series. The last game between the Northern Knights and the Munster Reds. A beautiful day here in Bready. Unfortunately, a lot of the crowd that had gathered for the morning fixture between the Northwest Warriors and the Leinster Lightning have departed, but I'm sure this is going to be a very good game. Unfortunately for Munster, they're going to be without the services of Murray Cummins, who suffered a side strain whilst practicing batting before. That's going to be a huge loss for Munster. But without further ado, we'll go out to the toss.
Good afternoon and welcome to Bready for Game 12 of the IP20 series between the Munster Reds and the Northern Knights. Delighted to be joined out of the toss as usual by match referee Graham McRae, Munster Reds captain PJ Moore and Northern Knights captain Harry Tector. Graham's got the coin, he's going to flip it, PJ's going to call. PJ, you've looked to bowl first today. Reasons behind that decision?
We don't think the wicket's going to change too much throughout the course of this game, and we sort of felt it's quite hard to gauge what a good total is out here, so batting second and chasing might give us a clearer idea of how we need to approach it.
And you chased successfully on the Friday, didn't set a big enough total yesterday. Does that play into the decision making?
Not really. We've had obviously a lot of injuries though, so that was something that we did factor in. We're a batsman light because obviously Murray Cummins went down during warm-up, so I think chasing again, maybe if we can bat a bit more sensibly, realising that we're a batsman short, that might be a better plan for us.
And the result earlier this morning opens up the competition yet again. Big chance for yourselves to take a win and get back up that table.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think the guys are up for it. I mean, obviously, like I said, we've been hampered by injuries, but that's not to say it's not a great opportunity for somebody else to put their hand up and, show what they're capable of today.
Perfect, thank you, PJ.
Cheers.
Harry, batting first this afternoon, not a bad toss to lose?
Yeah, I mean, we probably would have won. Just chatting to PJ before the toss, I think we both were pretty happy with what the other person was going to do. So, we were going to bat and, post a good total. It looks like maybe getting a little bit tougher to chase on like we saw there. So if we can post a decent total and then put them under pressure in the second innings.
A disappointing day yesterday, just one to completely scrap and go again this morning.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you're looking at it end of the day, a bit of the responsibility would probably be on myself, having scored the runs I've needed to score for the Knights. So, that's a hole there at number 4, and that's, if I score runs, that helps us post bigger totals, and that's something I'm trying to change, and just in bad form, but hopefully that changes today. And
similarly to PJ, the result earlier completely opens up the competition. Great chance for the Knights to fight back.
It's massive, and it's a must-win really for both teams to stay in the competition. And, there doesn't really need to be any added incentive bar that. It's a must-win, and the lads know that, and they're ready to rectify what went wrong yesterday.
Perfect. Thank you to Harry,
Thanks,
and thank you to PJ, and thank you obviously to Graham beside me. The news from the middle this afternoon is that PJ Moore and the Munster Reds have won the toss, and they're going to bowl first.
So there we are, Munster winning the toss and electing to bowl. But before we get on to this game, Peter Gillespie, we might just reflect on that points table after the game this morning, with the narrowest of victories in a low-scoring encounter between the Northwest Warriors and Leinster Lightning. Your reflections on that?
Yeah, as you can see there, we started the weekend with Leinster Lightning rock bottom. 2 wins have catapulted them up into second place, within touching distance of the Northwest Warriors, who up until today were runaway leaders. It's kept the competition open, it's kept the competition very interesting, and still a lot to play for. Victory for either of these two teams today would see them up within touching distance of the Leinster Lightning. So a lot on offer, Louis, for this last game.
No doubt about that. And there's been, throughout the course of this series, T20 cricket has a habit of doing that. There's ups and downs performances, but this is game 12. Munster opening the bowling with Aaron Cawley. No surprise there. I suppose the sad news for Munster is the unfortunate withdrawal of Murray Cummins with the side strain. They're one of their premier batsmen.
Yeah, he's going to be a huge loss to this Munster Reds batting lineup. And already without the services of Tyrone Kane, Curtis Kempfer, Gareth Delaney, it's another blow for them. So we'll have to see how they can respond.
And I'm sure Paul Sterling, who's on strike here, will be looking for some runs after a disappointing series so far for him, and I'm sure for fans alike, when he can explode, Peter, it's different ball game.
Yeah, he's come into this match off the back of 1 run off 5 deliveries, which is very un-Paul Sterling-like.
And he's opened his left leg and he's just smashed that over mid-on for 4. And I just get the sense that this will be coming thick and fast from Paul Sterling today. No doubt about that.
Yeah, I've spoke before about Paul Sterling. He only has 1 gear, and he signalled his intent very early here, clearing that left leg, as you said. Aaron Colley's not going to want to put too much up in his half.
That's a better length from Aaron Coley there. Not necessarily creating an indecision, but we all know how much Paul Sterling relishes that little bit of width where he just clears that right leg and gets balls into positions that probably no other batsman, not necessarily going to say in the world, but very few in the world get them to where he does. Fantastic career record, Paul Sterling. Only 30 years of age. It's remarkable, really.
And again, clears the front leg. Smacks that one past the bowler. Bring up a second boundary of the over. And I think, Louis, he's one of these batsmen that you can plan and plan and plan and plan. But when Paul Sterling fires, is there anywhere that you can possibly see a weakness where you can tie him up and keep him quiet for a prolonged period of time?
Not really.
Didn't think so.
It's again well bowled by Aaron Coley there. Of course, Paul Sterling is joined by James McCollum. Again, international cricketer looking to, in a sense, re-establish himself on the international fold. Very good player, James McCollum. And if Paul Sterling is to stay here for any length of time, I'm sure he'll relish the prospect of batting with him. And that's the clank off the pavilion roof. Advances 2 and 3 steps, and the most beautiful of straight drives from Paul Sterling. And there's nothing new in this at all, is there, Peter?
No, he's ended the over with a flourish. He's gone .4, .4, .6. And that's it. Aaron Colley, none for 14 off 1. And in between that, pulled a couple of good balls, but as I said before, when Paul Sterling's on fire, he can just hit balls from any length, from any width, to any area of the ground. He's just, as we say time and time again, he's probably one of our genuinely world-class players that we have in Ireland, and when he's on fire, there's no finer sight.
Well, he has statistics in white ball cricket that compare with the best. If you have a look at them, the Kevin Petersons, the Steve Smiths, he's up there with the best of them, hundreds and 50s, averages, strike rates.
Yeah, and we had a good look at them recently. We were tasked with finding the player of the decade, and we looked at his records extensively, and they were just phenomenal. As Josh Manley comes in from the Mason Road end. Oh, just had point interested there for a second as he slashed, James McCollum slashed that one away wide, got a bit of width through his hands, and it's just crept over the leaping point for a boundary 4. It was a great start by the Knights.
I wondered how James McCollum was going to respond to the onslaught of the other end. We've seen it right now.
Paul Sterling's one of those batsmen. He seems to galvanise the team. When he's on fire, it gives everyone else that extra 5-10%.
No doubt about it. He's bowled well in this tournament so far, Josh Manley. A man who seems to give everything, Peter.
Yeah, he's been very impressive. It's the first time I've seen him in the flesh. And he gets the ball in good areas. He gets good shape. Very consistent. You know, he's definitely one to keep an eye on.
Of course, plays his club cricket with Lisburn. Good piece of bowling. Good length, a little bit of away movement from Manley.
Yeah, we've seen this pitch today in the previous games this weekend. Does give value for the bowlers if they get it in the right area. The breeze is slightly picked up from earlier, blowing across the ground. That's going to aid Josh Manley. He started from this end yesterday and then he knocked the stumps and threw him off his length a bit and he changed ends. But he started well here.
Good bowling again from Josh Manley there, inducing a thickish outside edge.
He's tightened his length from that first delivery where he gave James McCullum perhaps a little bit more width than he had intended. He's brought him back a bit, but this singles brought Paul Stirling on strike.
That's an extraordinary cricket shot. And that has gone a long, long way for 6. And he's just come inside that and launched it over wide, long off. Look at that.
It's almost Simi Singh-esque. Simi Singh advances, but Simi Singh tries to kind of slap it, carve it more. Paul Stirling just completely in control of that shot. Absolutely out of the screws, and those cards there might need to beat a hasty retreat.
20 off 7 deliveries now, Paul Stirling.
Yeah, that Wasp showing 160, Louis, but if this continues, I think that's going to...
Good double.
They're going to need a ladder. This is great to watch, I have to admit it.
Black indicating that's a wide delivery, and it certainly was. It was overhead high there to Paul Stirling, who really had no interest in it.
No, as a bowler here, you really have to get your cricket smarts onto Paul Stirling. You've got to use everything you can get your hands on. We've seen Josh Manley yesterday bowl. He does give that good surprise bouncer. He does get it in good areas, but that Paul Stirling a little lower to the ground. That was a wide.
Good from Josh Manley, getting it a bit fuller. Brings us to the end of the second over. Northern Knights now 26 without loss. And I sense Munster will prefer to be bowling to James McCullum for a while, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a feeling that the Munster skipper, PJ Moore, is going to have to do a bit of chopping and changing. He's going to have to keep the batsman guessing as best he can, use his bowlers wisely. Aaron Colley's getting a second over after that first over was roundly dispatched. Yeah, obviously, they talk about the best laid plans of mice and men, but when Paul Stirling's in this kind of form, all bets are off.
Well, as you say, he was on the back of a solitary run off 5 balls from the previous 2 matches. No such thing today. 20 from 8 deliveries so far, as PJ Moore looks to ring the changes, bringing Jack Carty out of slip into a straightish mid-wicket.
And you feel this can only benefit someone like James McCullum. Just take the pressure off him, just take the limelight off him. Someone who's just trying to feel his way back in after a difficult time, as you say, trying to re-establish himself And if Paul Sterling goes to the other end, he can go quietly about his business and just build without too much attention. I'm sure he'll be relishing the opportunity to have a bat with Paul.
Well, we saw too, Peter, the Bready pitch in the afternoon understandably gathered a wee bit of pace, just got that little bit drier, much easier to bat.
That was a great delivery. He does have that ability to just get that bit of jag. You can see he does have the effort ball, Aaron Colley. And the one he just puts a bit of extra shoulder into it.
Well, he has a very good wrist. Again, that snap in his wrist that gives him that little extra injection of pace.
Just straying down the leg side there. We've seen Barry McCarthy taken to the sword up at Northdown in an IP20 match earlier in the year. From that type of length, from that type of line, Paul Sterling, just time and time again, they kept making the same mistake. Fed him on the short ball, and he just tucked in with relish.
I spoke to a number of the Leinster players after that game, and many of them commented they hadn't seen a ball hit so hard any form of domestic cricket. Many of them literally hoping the ball wasn't going to come to them on the boundary.
Yeah, I'd say they had a good supply of physio tape on hand. A few battered and bruised fingers.
That's good thinking from Aaron Cawley. Slower ball there. Catching Paul Sterling a wee bit cold.
Yeah,
it's good from him.
He's mixed this up quite well. He's bowled that heavy ball. He's bowled that hard length. He's bowled that slower ball. Give him a bit of width, one bit of extra bounce. Paul Sterling just nothing in the slot, taking everything away that arc. It's been a good over so far. This is the pressure you want to see these young bowlers being put under. See what they're made of. See how they stand up.
Oh, that was at catchable height there. It squirted through backward square, and for a moment you felt there was a chance there, Peter.
Yeah, a bit of width, Paul Sterling this time. Just staying as he does, leg side. Throwing his hands. It was uppish. It was thickish outside edge. But nothing in the wicket column, but another 4 in the boundary column. And he moves swiftly on to 24 off 12 deliveries.
And that's a good finish from Aaron Cawley. Really good over that.
Yeah, I'll be happy to get out of that over after the previous one with only 6 runs conceded. But a good start so far for the Knights. I felt it was a game of 2 halves for the Knights yesterday. They'd done a great job with Leinster Lightning, the resurgent Leinster Lightning. The first time we've seen them really come to the fore. And at one stage, they looked as if they were going to put a massive total on the board. But that Knights fielding performance, which we've talked about so much, really kept them in check. But the batters just didn't turn up.
No. And I suppose Leinster Lightning had to come back yesterday with something more to offer, and they certainly did. And that seems to have gone a long way too. James McCollum joining the party there. Seemed to catch the toe of the bat. There was a very strange sound from it. But it's gone all the way for 6, Peter.
Again, taking a leaf out of Paul Sterling's book there. Just shuffled down a few. Just made that into the length that he wanted. Good dictating there from the batsman. Not letting Josh Manley settle into his length. He caught that one right out of the screws. Flew for a maximum. Brings another change in the field as Jack Carthy goes to short mid-wicket. And another one from James McCollum. Read the length very well there. Manley tried to go shorter. McCallum hanging back in his crease. Read it brilliant. And fine leg up in the ring. It sped past Aaron Cawley for another boundary.
Good shot. This got into a very good position and put it away with ease. Backward is square.
Yeah, look for more position here. That it was leggish, but when you see in the replay there, he took that from on line.
Oh, that is a fantastic catch from Greg Ford. We've seen some outstanding catches this weekend in Bready, and that's joined one of them. He was skirting with the boundary rope, had to judge that, keep his eye on the ball. An extraordinary shot from James McCollum, a very good one. And to stay inside the ropes, that's a great effort from him.
Yeah, wow. His initial movement, we had a great side-on view from it, and it looked to be carrying, and Ford initially ran in towards the ball, realised very quickly that it was going a bit further and had to readjust, took a great grab above his head. James McCollum initially seemed to look as if he was trying to ramp it leg side. Manley obviously seen him, slight adjustment, bowled it a bit wider, continued with the ram shot, just trying to access the offside. But a great piece of fielding, as you said, Louis, results in the first night's wicket falling for 42 of 3.3 overs. McCollum departs. It's all happening.
And it's brought Jeremy Lawler to the wicket. Didn't last long yesterday. 2 balls. Josh Little saw the end of him, so he'll be anxious to try and get some runs, potentially press a claim. Good IP20 series. There's a different format. Orthodox player, Lawler.
Yeah, he had a very good innings against the Northwest Warriors on Friday, 28 off 23. Showed probably more attacking intent than we'd seen previously, as you say. A very good 50-over player, looks to be set for the longer stage, but we're happy to get in and get stuck in and dispatched a few boundaries on Friday. He'll be looking for some time at the crease, as you say. Another player looking to put his hat in the ring for international selection when the time comes.
Oh,
I think there was a half a sniff there, Louis.
Matt Ford probably wasn't as quick to the ball as he should have been there. It was a dodgy single. I was just going to reflect a wee bit, Peter. I suppose the concern from an Irish point of view is a number of the major players aren't really in the runs they should be in the lead up to this South African series. Obviously, there's the inspiration of the games themselves, but it'd be nice to just try and find some form in advance of that series. Very important series for Ireland coming up soon.
Yeah, good length there from Manley. Yeah, you're absolutely, Louis. I mean, the end of the 4th over sees us 43 for 1. Yeah, absolutely. As you said there, you want your best players. You want your Andrew Balbernis. You want your Paul Sterlings. Your Kevin O'Briens. You know, William Porterfields. Whatever the lineup's going to be, you want those guys in there getting runs. You want those guys going into the very, very vital series on the back of some consistent form, but just quite hasn't happened for a few of them so far, and I'm sure.
I think perhaps one thing we do know, Peter, I think we'll see William Porterfield back in the fold, probably opening the batting with Paul Sterling. The experiment of Kevin O'Brien at the top of the order. William struggled a wee bit in the Netherlands series, but seems back in a wee groove.
As Fionn Hand makes the first change from the pavilion end. Yeah, of course, Kevin's retired now from 50-over cricket, which we know, but there's still a 20-over series to be played. South Africa, Zimbabwe. Some of the Zimbabwe matches will be here. in August against Ireland. You know, there's a hell of a lot of international cricket coming up now, and you want those guys really in a good, consistent run of form.
Absolutely.
Good length there from Fionn Hand. It's good to see him back after that knock he took yesterday. He did finish the match yesterday, but there was a bit of concern at one stage from players, from our co-commentator Lenny, and from the Fionn Hand Appreciation Society, but made a strong stuff. He got back up, got stuck into the game yesterday, and here he is coming on to Paul Sterling.
I wonder, will there be a northwest version of the Fionn Hand Appreciation Society? A lot of noise away to our right hand side. Breedy locals. I'm sure you know them all well, Peter.
Oh, that's a cracking shot from Paul Sterling. Almost a slog sweep off the big seamer. In the slot, he's just cleared that front leg, Louis. Beautiful extension of the hands through the ball, results in the maximum.
I really sensed this was a wee bit premeditated.
Yeah, Fionn Hand just angling the ball into Paul Sterling there, just coming into that area that he likes. And it's got the voices raised over there. This is what everyone wants to see. Except for the Munster Reds bowlers, that is.
It's the sort of stuff that happens week in, week out. Tune in, of course. Paul Sterling played 5 last games for Middlesex. And that's another. That's just off back of a length from Fionn Hand, and one gets the sense that if this goes on much longer, this could be the biggest total of the weekend.
Yeah, absolute fabulous timing. You know, as a player, when you hear that sound off the bat, that ball's comfortably going to clear the ropes. And it's Paul Sterling at his very best. Fionn Hand's got some work to do here. 2 balls remaining in this over. What's he going to do now?
Probably got himself, wasn't going to hit the stumps at all. Gave himself more room to hit leg side, becoming offside of the ball. Probably really wasn't going to hit the stumps at all. That really, no, hit well outside the line.
Yeah, he's got outside the line there. But we've seen this time and time again this weekend. Players looking to access the short side of the ground, looking that boundary to the pavilion, to the bank. Paul Sterling, no exception. Oh, and a cheeky Chinese cut just to finish the over. Despair for the bowler, hands on his head from Fionn Hand. That ends the 5th over. Northern Knights 51 for 6. A great start, Louis.
51 off 5 overs, and that's very tough on Fionn Hand. Chinese cut down to fine leg, of course, fine leg in the ring. And at the end of 5 overs, we're going to have a double change with Andrew Leonard joining Andrew Blair White to take you over the next couple of overs.
Thank you, Alan. What a remarkable exhibition of batting we're seeing here from Paul Sterling. Talk about him being box office. He is box office in not just Irish cricket, global cricket, but the thing that the home crowd who have stayed on to watch Paul Sterling are loving so much is these dynamic, remarkable cricket shots we're seeing. The one that got the biggest cheer of the day so far was the one that nearly clattered into them. We're all enjoying a few Sunday afternoon drinks out in the front of the Bready clubhouse. The sound of the noise off the bat as well, Andrew, in particular. Just remarkable. Going to see left arm spin. It's going to be greeted with a smash down the ground, not from the bat of Paul Sterling, but from the bat of Jeremy Lawler. Lawler getting into the act. The Knights are looking for the biggest total of the week here, perhaps.
Yeah, well, there's certainly a massive sign of intent here from the Northern Knights. They're keeping coming hard. James McCollum has perished, playing the right way, playing aggressively. Lawler now doing the same.
Lovely batting. Final over the power play, the introduction of spin. It hasn't worked. Just a bit of a drag down this time from Frost, and it's punished through the offside. Good stuff from Lawler.
Yeah, taking advantage of the power play, bringing on the left arm spinner with only 2 men back, no men back on the offside. Accessing between cover and extra cover there superbly, Lawler.
One bowled into the pitch a bit more. Yeah, 3 more balls of the power play to get through for the Knights, but it's already the biggest power play, not just of this weekend. I think of the IP20 so far, 68 with 3 deliveries remaining. The Paul Sterling factor, 40 off 18 for him. And that's going to go over the head of PJ Moore, who of course is in the outfield. The reason he's in the outfield, struggling with that little bit of tape you can see in his left hand. Looks like a damaged 4th finger on his left hand. Couldn't even get his right hand up to this. Good batting from Lawler.
Yeah, excellent batting again from Jeremy Lawler. And it's a very poor piece of fielding from Michael Cotter down there. Everyone in Cricket Leinster will know Michael Cotter very well. He's let that one straight through the legs.
What about the hairstyle? You're the guru, the stylish one in the commentary box. What about the Michael Cotter hairstyle? The mullet, is it?
Jeez, we're struggling if I'm the guru in this commentary box. But, yeah, no, I couldn't pull it off myself anyway. I don't have enough hair in the locker, as do a fair few of us.
Good finish from Frost. 3 boundaries coming from the over. Wasp is advancing up to 177. I think the Knights will be looking north of 200. The highest power play of the IP20 this year. 72 runs coming for the loss of just 1 wicket. Paul Sterling's fireworks providing huge entertainment. And the crowd are really enjoying it, Andrew, aren't they?
It's hard not to when Paul Sterling's in the mood like this. We were lucky enough to be up in Comber when he did this against the Leinster Lightning in the 50 over format. You just feel like every ball's an event with Paul Sterling in this sort of mood. Fionn Hand in the previous over, he dropped short. He was cannoned away for 6. He went full, he was cannoned away for 6. I thought I could park my car miles away. I might have to go and put it another few yards. I'm getting a little bit wary.
I'm not sure any of the cars anywhere within the Bready vicinity are safe while Sterling's going like this. And remember, he's got the short leg side boundary to work with here. Already smashed one there over his adoring fans. The thing I'm loving about the crowd involvement as well, a little bit reminiscent of Lords a few years ago. Just before the bowler delivers, an audible hush is descending over the ground as they wait to see what happens. Not going to see too much action with Fionn Hand trying to hang it away outside the off stump, but they are loving this action from Paul Sterling.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. You can see what Fionn Hand's trying to do here. He's got 3rd man deep cover and long off, all back on the rope. You'd assume he's going to bowl that 6-7 stump line, try to take away the leg side option, but Paul Sterling has been drifting over.
There's no doubt that Fionn Hand will relish this challenge, though. Talk about the Interpros possibly not at times giving the best reflection whether a player has got the ability to go up a level, up to the international level. People are saying, oh, well, they can do it at this level. Can they do it against 90 mile an hour plus? Can they do it against brilliant wrist spin bowling? But for Fionn Hand here, the challenge of bowling to Paul Sterling is exactly the challenge he'd face up the level at internationals, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you're not going to face a more destructive player almost in the world in this format, especially when he's in the groove like this. So trying to execute a really finite plan of bowling almost on that wide line or 6-7 stump, going to really test his credentials because he knows it's going to go if he misses.
And that's going to be 3 wides. Fionn Hand, what a great reaction there. Couldn't quite believe it. Thought he just nailed it on that wide line. He also felt that he had the wicket of Paul Sterling. What did you think of that LBW decision? Looked quite close.
Yeah, it looked quite close, certainly to the naked eye. I didn't unfortunately get to see it on replay. You probably let me know more. I think you got to see it once there on the screen behind us. But it certainly to the naked eye looked like he'd shuffled across. Looked like he was close enough to being in front.
Rolly Black, who is standing with Alan Neil. Rolly Black standing this at the pavilion end. Decided not out. Maybe getting outside the line. Sterling came a long way across. Through the offside this time, and going to be a big chase on for Mitchell Thompson out in the deep. He will cut it off. I don't think Paul Sterling has too much interest in coming back for a 3rd. He'll keep the strike. The Reds, massive injury problems, not just losing Delaney, Camphor and Kane, as has been so well advertised and spoken about, but losing Murray Cummins in the warm-up, that's a massive blow to an already depleted squad.
Yeah, it is a massive blow, and even the fact that PJ Moore at the moment unable to take up his duties behind the stumps, one of the best keepers you're going to see in the game, PJ Moore. So just goes to show they've been injury depleted all around.
Looks for the almost paddle sweep shot behind square, treating Fionn Hand a bit more like a spinner. Good bowling this from Hand though, hanging the ball well outside the offside, not allowing Sterling to hit that short boundary 45-50 yards to the leg side. Of course Theo Dempsey unable to play as well, so Phoenix man missing out. Would have been nice to see him in action for the Reds, but he is also unavailable, although here from injury. Edged and dropped. The stand-in keeper has put it down and Sterling has a life. The tactic from Hand has worked. It's found the outside edge, but the young keeper with the gloves, Seamus Lynch, behind the stumps couldn't hang on.
Yeah, it's a tough enough chance here. It's very wide from Sterling. He's gone one-handed. Would have been a good grab, but unfortunately with Paul Sterling at the crease, you're going to have to take that sort of chance. He's not going to give you too many, and when he's on 46 off 22 balls, you really have to try get him back in the hut, and that has to go down as a bad drop chance.
That one is taken. It's taken, a spectacular catch. It was a full toss. Hand continues outside the off stump. It's been caught by Mike Frost, who's wearing Murray Cummins' shirt. The numbers are causing confusion, but that's a really good catch because that was smashed at backward point. And he gets it on the juggle, the second attempt, and doesn't he celebrate? Delight for the Reds. They've got rid of the biggest prize here on offer. Paul Sterling goes. What an innings though he's played. 46 from 23.
Yeah, super innings from Paul Sterling. 5 fours and 4 massive sixes as well. He'll be disappointed with that. It was a full toss from Fionn Hand either side of Frost, and it's going away for 4 to bring up his 50. But it's a sharp catch in there, and yet again he has gone for a few runs, but Fionn Hand taking wickets, and he's turning into a bit of a golden arm for this Munster Reds side. He does go for runs, but yet another big scalp for him.
Yeah, much to the dismay of the crowd who'd gathered, I think, to mainly watch one man here this afternoon, Paul Sterling. We don't see him too often in interprovincial cricket. Obviously jet setting all the way around the world, so in demand in global T20 leagues, and just back from a short stint with Middlesex. We saw him shone very brightly, very briefly, 46 off 23, great entertainment. And Fionn Hand, like you said, he just has this magic knack. If you look at the over, doesn't look like a great one, but it's actually been really well executed outside the off stump. Harry Tector to the crease, the Knights captain, and is happier to bowl into the pads of Tector. Not quite the same fear factor that he would have with Sterling. He's got the big wicket. That's what the Reds needed. 7 overs gone, 82 for 2.
Yeah, it was interesting talking to Harry Tector at the toss. He was very harsh on himself more than anything, really, about the lack of runs that he's been able to score during the Northern Knights T20 campaign. Having a look at that scorecard there, you assume he'll be the same again. Mark Adair in at number 5, maybe even Neil Rock at number 5. Certainly those two will probably be the next 2 in. Neil Rock's been very impressive with the bat in the 2 games so far.
Yeah, Neil Rock's been really impressive. He's added power to his game. I think the stint up in Northern Cricket Union club cricket has been really beneficial to him. 2 good innings this weekend. Mark Adair's looked really good in patches, but hasn't quite got the weight of runs that you'd expect. Ross Adair the same. Would like to see Ross Adair given a chance a little bit higher up the order. And just a bit of pressure on Harry Tector as well, struggling for runs at the moment. I think by his own admission, out of form and not quite getting into the groove in T20 with the change of formats from the glut of 50 over cricket that we had earlier in the year. Be pleased with the situation he's coming in at though, because there's much less pressure on him than usual.
Yeah, massively so. It's a great platform to build upon for himself and Jeremy Lawler here. Very little pressure going at such a heavy run rate.
Do you think that Tector will continue to take a really aggressive approach and look to push his side north of 200, or will he just try to bat some time initially?
Yeah, he might try to take a bit of time to get himself in, but I see no reason to suggest why he won't keep going at it. I think a sign usually that Harry Tector is playing well is early on in his innings he's trying to be busy, and you just saw there he push one into the leg side. He's called for twos, gets one into the offside there for a single. Usually positive signs for him, just gets him rolling into his innings and usually can go through the gears then.
Slower through the air this time from Frost. Worked into the leg side, but one of the three sweepers out there all protecting the bigger boundary just for a single. Yeah, Lynch will be a very relieved man, won't he, with the gloves behind the stumps.
Yeah, you'd have to be. He'd have been feeling after that drop catch went down what might be here with Paul Stirling, but I'd say he's the first man over to Mike Frost, congratulating him on that catch, meaning that error didn't go punished.
Beautifully bowled. I think that's the arm ball from Frost. Doesn't give much elevation on any of his deliveries, but everything coming down from the point of release in towards the batsman there, the right-handed batsman. Good bowling. And again, follows it up with a good piece of fielding. Direct hit might have been interesting there. Good tight stuff from Frost. He's had a good weekend. He's been impressive. 8 overs gone, Andrew. It's 87 for 2.
Yeah, I'd like to hear your views, Andrew, actually, on Mike Frost. Probably, he's obviously played only a few games for the Munster Reds, but showing great control and his variation of pace more than anything has certainly impressed me. But you're obviously our spinner connoisseur in the box there.
Yeah, look, I think not an out-and-out turner of the ball, but the T20 level in particular, you don't necessarily need to be. It's more about your changes of angle, of flight. Look at the way Simi Singh operates in the T20 game, can prove so difficult to hit and to get away. And I think with George Dockerell's struggles with his bowling, quite the opposite with his batting, Frost will be trying to put his hand up as the next left arm spinner in and around the Irish domestic game. Been a good entry season for the Reds for him. Fionn Hand's going to continue. You'd have to think the reason he's going to continue is the Reds just want to find one or two more wickets, don't they?
Yeah, they probably need to, if anything, to stem the flow of runs even more, try to get that run rate into a more manageable rate of maybe 8, 9 and over, and that's going to happen through wickets, trying to get new batters at the crease. Want to maybe break this partnership and maybe get somebody like Mark Adair out early, then you can start building a real cluster of pressure in the second half of this innings.
Fionn Hand thought he was in business. Something seems to happen every single ball when Fionn Hand's out there, whether it's with the bat or the ball in the field, constantly adjusting the straps like Rafael Nadal of his shirt. Such an entertaining young man to watch, isn't he?
Yeah, certainly. There does seem to be everything going on. That's a very much a risk-reward ball, that short one, to this shorter boundary.
Hit down the ground and remarkably long on, not in place. I'm not too sure what the thinking is here. You're allowed to have 5 men outside the circle at this stage of the game. Lawler a clean striker of the ball. Now long on goes back. As soon as he hit that, I thought, oh, it's got to be out. Long on wasn't in place and it got the elevation over Ford's head.
Well, quite surprisingly, they had 5 men in the ring. Now that was maybe again a risk-reward play from PJ Moore, trying to build a bit of pressure.
That one's going to be signalled wide down the leg side. Fionn Hand holds his hand to his head. Can't believe that one's missed leg stump. Lawler coming across his stumps, trying to target the short boundary.
Yeah, you can see Lawler, he's really trying to access that mid-wicket area. Mid-wicket's still in the ring, so there's a big gap between deep square leg and long on. And it is a short boundary over there, so no surprise to see Lawler trying to get over and trying to make that happen.
Driven through the offside. That's a glorious shot. One of the more conventional strokes of the innings so far, but absolutely nothing wrong with that. Overpitched by Hand and punished by Lawler through the offside. Lovely batting.
Yeah, this is a seriously good shot from Jeremy Lawler, back to what we've seen from him in the 50 over format. Just overpitched from Fionn Hand, a half volley, but getting it through that extra cover and mid-off region beautifully. And the outfield has been absolutely pristine all weekend, and the Northern Knights have no signs of stopping here. Run rate still over 11 and over.
Looks for the block hole this time. Hand and just driven into the offside. Surprised no Mitchell Thompson yet, the young leg spinner.
You'd have to think he'll come on soon enough. He may come on from the Mason Road end of the ground, like we saw Gavin Hoey earlier today, backing your young leg spinner from that end and giving him the necessary protection out on the leg side. If on the off chance he does drop short, hopefully we do see him sooner rather than later though.
So 2 boundaries in that over, an expensive one, 12 runs coming from it. The Knights just a run shy of 100 inside the halfway stage of this first innings of the 6th and final match of the second Interpro Festival, the IP20 Festival. Let's look at the bowling options for the Reds. Just 4 bowlers used so far. Who else may we see? Mitchell Thompson with his leg spin, potentially Jack Carty with his right arm medium.
Yeah, well, they do have options. They've also got Matt Ford, you'd think might bowl a few off breaks. We saw Ali Frost use in the previous 2 games as well with his medium pace, but it's good to see. It does look like Mitchell Thompson is coming on to bowl from the Mason Road end. It's a good weekend thus far for the family. His younger brother actually got YMCA over the line with a big 6 in Rush yesterday, so they'll be hoping that Mitchell can have a good day. He bowled quite nicely in the game he played last weekend down in Pembroke. Shame not to see him in the first 2 days this weekend.
And potentially only playing today with that injury to Murray Cummins. I'm not sure he would have necessarily been in the starting 11. Without that, maybe Jack Carty would have missed out. Hard to know. But he's in. That's all that matters right now. Picked up a wicket last week. Going to need to be finding a few breakthroughs here as the Reds try to stem the flow of runs that are coming from the bats of the Northern Knights, who are really dominant right now. Starts nicely. Tector drives him into the offside. Pretty conventional field for a leg spinner in T20 cricket. Long off and deep extra cover, and then 4 fielders on the leg side, 3 of whom are in the deep. So you can get a single all day long on the leg side, maybe even push for 2. But lots of protection for the power shots into the leg side.
It's been a nice start from Mitchell Thompson. He started a little bit nervously last weekend, which was understandable on his debut. A few drag downs in his first delivery, but 2 lovely starts there from him.
Just going to go over the head of Aaron Coley and down towards our commentary position. Right in front of us. That's 4 more to the total. A little bit of a top edge from Lawler. Probably not exactly where he intended it, but just the line is wrong here from Thompson. Too far outside the leg stump. Angling in. Looking a bit maybe too much for that wonder, that miracle ball. And he's hit away for 4.
Yeah, looking almost for that miracle round the legs delivery there, Thompson.
That's a googly. That one out of the back of the hand you saw. That's a different line. Spinning back into the right-hander. Picked up by Lawler and cut away into the deep for a single.
Yeah, Wasp readjusting to 196 now for the Northern Knights. Over 100 before halfway.
Good energy from Tector down the wicket, just work it into the leg side. Like you said, when you're struggling for form as a batsman like Tector is, just in this format, obviously in good touch in the 50 over game, but in the T20 struggling to get going, all he's going to try and do for the start of his innings is knock it around, get the strike to Lawler. Lots of singles and 2s. That's better from Thompson. Nicely landed leg break. Good batting though. It's really frustrating as a young spinner if you land your delivery perfectly and the batsman works it into the leg side to pick up a couple. 9 runs coming from his first over. Reached the halfway stage of the first innings of the final game of the weekend. The score is 108 for 2. A bid farewell to Andrew Blair White for the moment. Peter Gillespie will come and join me. Peter and I have been trying our best not to fall out over the course of the time in between the innings, as we disagreed at great length over the player of the match in the first game.
Trying being the operative word.
We won't fight on air though, Peter, will we? We're too close for that.
No, I agree, and I think we parted ways with the inference of agreeing to disagree, which I think was the diplomatic option. I had my batsman's head on and you had your leg spin union head on.
You can't give away who I was picking, Peter. That's very unfair. I think it was pretty obvious that I was going for Gavin Hoey. A wonderful spell of leg spin bowling. 4 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 12. Helped turn the game for the Leinster Lightning earlier on. Change of ends for Frost. Going to back their left arm spinner to protect the boundary. Tector looks like a man who just a little ill at ease with his 20 over game at the moment.
Yeah, and I spoke about James McCollum trying to find his way back in and establish himself. Harry's the same.
And he's going to get going. That's a really good shot. Over extra cover. No real risk in that stroke as long as you get it over the head of the fielder in the ring. A really good stroke. His first boundary. And he gets into double figures for the first time this weekend.
And I just previously spoke about it off air, Lenny, this is the first opportunities that come in with the platform. So he's able to just feel his way into the game without too much pressure.
Yeah, he's come in with huge pressure in his previous innings this weekend. The Knights were very poor yesterday, it has to be said. Not just their batting all around. It was a disappointing
It was an
performance.
absolute game of two halves, because it looked at one stage that Leinster were on for 180, possibly 200 if they had kept going. It was actually their fielding that brought them back into the game. Some superb catches, some superb run-outs, but they just didn't turn up then for their batting innings.
Pulled into the deep. Is that going to carry? Not quite to Jack Carty. Yeah, you thought 167 might have been something around par, and the Knights were rolled for 97 all out.
Yeah, we find it very difficult to establish par, but it was one of those totals that you thought the bowling side's going to have to bowl well, the defend, the batting side's going to have to bat well, but they just didn't show up.
Tector feigning to come down the track, doesn't, and Frost drags his length back, driven through the gap in the offside. I think Tector's going to want 3 here. Really good running. Cawley took his time to get after that. Remarkable to see they've got 3. It's been given the double teapot by the bowler. He's not happy with that effort from his 2 fielders there.
Yeah, it was a good bit of adjustment. He's seen Tector feigning, as you say, to come down, dragged it back, but still resulted in 3 runs, and this impressive run rate continues.
So nearly clean bowls, Lawler, and it's missed everything. I think we're going to wait for the signal from the umpire, but I suspect this is going to be buys. It is indeed. Seamus Lynch, he's a part-time keeper. He's put a catch down already. And this one here, I just don't think he's laid a glove on it.
Not anywhere near it at all. That's a bit disappointing at this level, Lenny. And if the bowler was given the double teapot the ball before, I think if he had an extra arm, it'd be a triple teapot for that. He's done everything he can. Lovely length, beaten the batsman, and it's rolled away for a boundary.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of Frost bowl from this end of the ground, the pavilion end, and you got a great demonstration there of why he causes batsmen problems. It's the angle in to the right-handers that causes them the difficulty. No real turn on offer, in fact no turn at all, and that's what's ended up confusing Lynch as well. The ball's missed leg stump, not off stump. His gloves weren't able to come across in time. 4 buys to the total. And that's a poor delivery from Mitchell Thompson. Spoke about his line. Can't be looking to bowl leg stump or outside leg stump. As a leg spinner, you've got to be on around off stump. Even if you're turning the ball significantly away, it'll cause the batsman more problems. This is a freebie, a free hit almost for Harry Tector.
He's served up his YMCA club mate with an absolute buffy ball there, and Harry's cashed in gratefully. Yeah, you're talking about his line. Absolute. You have to be on the money as a leg spinner. You know where Harry is.
Over pitches again, this time worked down the ground by Tector. Won't get back for 2. Good work from Jack Carty in the deep. And you talk about your alignment as a spinner. You want to imagine, you see Thompson's run up quite wide here, and if his natural angles are bringing him down across towards a leg stump, that's going to result in inconsistencies in his line. That one over the back of the hand slower that time.
And then there was a very good case in point early on in his career. Kyle McCallum used to approach the crease at an angle until Lady Burrow realised that, you know, you're having more work to do, you're having more shoulder rotation to get the ball on line.
Beautifully hit through the offside. Just one bounce up the hill, almost ricocheting into that beautiful convertible car there. Slightly perturbed passenger, risky place to park here at Bready.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's offered up a bit of width here, and Jeremy Lawler's gleefully accepted. It's a good shot, good extension of the hands. and got full reward for it.
Nicely bowled. A little bit of turn on offer this time, and that's been signalled as a wide.
Yeah. He just doesn't seem to have the control that his captain wants here. And he's put the bowling attack under even more pressure than...
That's beautifully bowled. Big appeal. Given not out by umpire Neil. I think the wide probably a little harsh. That would have pitched certainly within the guidelines and turned sharply away into the gloves of Lynch.
Yeah, but you said the magic word there, Lenny. Guidelines. You know, the ultimate the ultimate call lies with the umpire.
That's better, but really good shot. For me, cover is far, far too close there for a young leg spinner. And he's just stood motionless. That would have actually been hit early somewhere towards an extra cover who's a little bit at a better angle, slightly deeper in the circle, but a good shot from Lawler. He continues to profit.
Well, we had an excellent angle here from more commentary position, as you've seen. Cover tried to anticipate that there. He moved a couple of steps to his left, thinking it was going to go to his left hand, and he's just smashed it straight where he should have been.
But he's too tight as well, isn't he?
He's too tight, yeah. And I think at this stage, when your run rate is up over 11, with 8 overs remaining, you're not going to be worried about being in the circle, in the ring, trying to cut down ones. You're trying to stop boundaries. Jeremy Lawler's 40 off 25. They've got off to a fantastic start. They're going to get a fantastic run rate. You just back off to the circle and you just say, okay, let's circle the wagons and minimise the damage. As Frost continues from the pavilion end to Harry Tector, he's moved nicely along to 22 off 17 deliveries.
You have to feel really here for the Munster Reds, Peter, don't you? Shorn of 3 of their most experienced players through injury, and then Murray Cummins in the warm-up. It's Tector, it's that into the leg side, no real timing. But they've fought and competed so admirably, scoring a big win over the Leinster Lightning. First game of the festival, but they're being put to the sword here by the Knights.
Yeah, that Paul Sterling blitzkrieg was putting many teams in the back foot, and they're finding it hard to recover.
That's a very clean strike indeed. Lawler showing his power hitting game at this level. That's one of the biggest sixes of the weekend. What a shot this one is, Peter Gillespie.
Yeah, hasn't given him too much on offer here. Flattish, but Jeremy Lawler's really dug his wrists through that, and as you say, it's one of the bigger hits of the weekend.
Almost a little bit reminiscent of the way Shane Getgate picks up. Quite a short backlift and just really a lot of wrists hammering the ball down the ground. As you said, not really a bad delivery. He wasn't given a huge amount of elevation to work with, but phenomenal knock this from Jeremy Lawler. 46 off 26.
I've watched a few videos recently of master classes that people like Joss Butler have done about their power hitting game, and there was a video some time ago where the Sky team took him and Freddie Flintoff out to the middle of the wicket and talked to them about how their power hitting games differed, and got them 3 balls each, and you know, Joss Butler was comfortably out hitting Freddie Flintoff, and as you say, a lot more wrist in the game now. He gets slightly lower, especially to the spinners, and generates a lot of power through his hips and upper body, and wrists in the end, finishes it off well.
You saw that exact piece, watched it, was fascinating, but the key was still a stable base, wasn't it?
Yeah, always your head still is a key in any position.
Good comeback from Frost, just dragging back his length a little. Yeah, you just have to feel for the Reds, don't you? Shorn of all those injuries, Murray Cummins out of the side, not even able to allow Theo Dempsey in, who struggled with injury as well. Only 11 fit players here in Derry now for the 3rd game of 3 days.
Yeah, it's always tough playing the last game of the festival, and as you say, even worse with although Starr's been injured, but they have coped admirably to date. Sorry.
You probably can't overstate the importance and the significance of PJ Moore being unable to keep wicket as well. I don't think Seamus Lynch has even kept wicket ever at club level before, just 18 years of age. A really difficult task for a young man. He stuck his hand up. He said he'll help his team out, but Moore, who's already the stand-in captain, looks like a very nasty injury to his fourth finger. He can't afford to sit out, but he can't afford to take the gloves either because of the continued damage he would have done.
I spoke to him before the game started, and he was keen to get the gloves, and I think a lot depended on the toss. And I had the feeling if they had been batting first, he might have risked taking the gloves for the second innings, but because he has such a vital role to play with the Munster Reds batting lineup, and they're fielding first, he's obviously not going to want to risk anything that's going to put him out of action for the batting.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see how PJ Moore approaches this chase. I wonder, is he just going to go like Paul Sterling right from the off? It's going to be a big total. They're going to chase down Matt Ford into the attack. You'd have to think they're going to be chasing more than 200 unless Matt Ford can work some magic here. Brought into the game very late. I wonder, will he bowl overs 14, 16, 18 and 20 if he goes well? He has been economical with his off spin.
Well, the one thing we haven't seen this weekend, Lenny, is any real invention from teams in their batting order. Every batting order seems to have gone to plan over 3 games, but you'd have to think at this stage, if I'm the Northern Knights coach, I'd want Neil Rock padded up. I'd want him to come in and give me that left-right hand option.
I thought that's going to be out. A brilliant change of bowling has worked the oracle for the Munster Reds. We've seen a few batsmen today just chip it tamely back to the bowler. I think that's the fourth caught and bowled now. A simple catch. Tector was just looking to get Lawler back on strike. He couldn't, and he's perished.
Yeah, he's almost fallen over slightly there. It's one of those shots where he's almost running into the shot, trying to push it, and just slightly early on the shot gets a leading edge, and the fourth caught and bowled of the weekend brings Mark Adair to the crease.
Yeah, the fourth caught and bowled of the day, I think, actually. Remarkable stuff, and just an indication of some of the spinners getting the ball to stick in the wicket a little bit.
Yeah, and we talked earlier about the Northwest Warriors not bringing their spinners into the game. They really went, bar Andy McBride, they didn't give Ross Allen or Graham Kennedy, who have been successful at looking. They stuck with their seam option. I don't know if it would have made much of a difference. I think they blew the batting chase, no doubt about that.
It was funny. I did talk to Graham Kennedy afterwards, and I said, "Graham, what did you have a bowl?" And he said, "Oh, look, I was ready to bowl, but just wasn't called upon." Andy McBride deciding to use his 4 seamers and himself, and I think the Warriors will have felt that they did the job with the ball. They just couldn't get it done with the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. You offer any team 130 in a 20 over game, they're going to bite your hand off. So I don't think you can lay fault at although we're talking about the spin option, I don't think you can lay the fault at the bowling effort of the Warriors.
It's not going to be Neil Rock in at number 5. Mark Adair is going to continue in his new role in this Northern Knights side, up at number 5 in the batting order. Worked into the leg side to get off the mark by Adair. I was wondering, might we see Ross Adair catapulted up the order?
Yeah, I just for me, I can't understand why you won't have a left-hander in to help access that short boundary from both ends. They obviously have their game plan. They know what Mark Adair offers. They're looking to give him every opportunity that they can up the order.
This is great stuff from Matt Ford. Just managing to find a way to drag that run rate back. Good running this time from Lawler. I'd like to think if the Reds can maybe find a way to get the prize wicket now of Lawler as well. It's still going to be a big chase, but they might just keep it to within something around 10 and over.
Yeah, something manageable.
Yeah, something manageable. It's going to be the biggest chase of the weekend if they'll pull it off, but a great start from Matt Ford. 3 runs coming from his off-spin delivered around the wicket and the big wicket of Harry Tector. It's the final game of the Cricket Ireland IP20 trophy weekend here at Bready. We've been blessed with brilliant weather. Andrew Leonard here in the commentary box. I've got the great man Peter Gillespie to my right. Peter, you must be a very proud Northwest man with the way this weekend's gone.
Yeah, it's good to see some sunshine. I think Bready, we spoke about it before, Bready have been unfortunate with some of the events that they've hosted here. I don't think the Irish cricket fraternity has really seen the best of the ground, bathed in glorious sunshine from the get-go today and the second match yesterday, and it's just great to see what they can offer. And of course, with those Zimbabwe games coming up here as well, kindly sponsored by or helped out by Visit Derry, there should be a treat and shows you what they can offer.
Going to see the seam of Alistair Frost for the first time, and he's going to take a wicket from a brilliant catch from PJ Moore. Look at the strapping on his left hand, it's in pain. He's put his body on the line, he's dived forward to take a phenomenal catch for a man who usually has the wicket keeping gloves on, but no doubt that caused him pain. That's the bravery of the man. That's brilliant leadership from PJ Moore.
Absolutely outstanding catch from PJ Moore. Mark Adair comes slightly across the shot, and I think it's just held up in the wind a bit because PJ Moore seemed to get good ground, and then it died on him very, very quickly, and he had to pull out the dive. I'm sure it was the last thing he wanted to do with the sore hand, but as you say, put his body on the line for the team. Another wicket falls, and they're just bringing themselves gradually back into the game here.
Brilliant from PJ Moore. Seeing that catch live right in front of our commentary position here, you saw the trajectory of the ball really die on him. It was very similar to the Kevin O'Brien catch. Don't know why at this end of the ground, just taking a big dip. And PJ Moore has dived full length forward to take an outstanding catch. A real measure of the man, the leadership from the Zimbabwean born man who's committed his long-term future, his new life here over in Ireland. Great to have him here.
Yeah, it is. He's going to be a good asset whenever he qualifies. Even being in and around these squads, the experience he brings. He's a test cricketer, and he can only help the guys around him.
New man at the crease is Neil Rock, but he's at the non-strikers end, and Jeremy Lawler moves to 50 with a nice conventional stroke, maybe a little bit off the outside edge. He won't mind about that. It's been a fine knock. It's come from just 30 deliveries. He's hit the ball all around the ground. He's picked up where Paul Sterling started off 8 fours, 9 fours in fact, and 1 6 in a sparkling knock.
Yeah, it's been a great backup to the fireworks of Paul Sterling. Bit more orthodox, but doing the job.
That's a poor delivery. Looking for the block hole, young Frost. It's ended up as a low full toss, and that's gone up onto the second pitch. And look someone's going to have to go up and chase up and get that. Not a great delivery, this one, Peter.
No, as you say, he's looking for the block hole. Missed his length and missed the convertible again. I think that person's going to have to take out some extra insurance or just move it.
Yeah, long chase for that gentleman, that spectator in. Thank you, sir. Going all the way up onto the second cricket pitch here. 2 at the gorgeous Bready Cricket Club facilities. 9 fours, 2 6s now. We talked about boundary hitting and strike rates. Highest strike rates of the weekend. They've been found in the final game.
Yeah, had a conversation off air where he played a very orthodox cover drive for 4, pierced the field here in front of the commentary position, and I said, that's the benefit of someone with a very solid technique, and I made a comment that I feel that you can teach a batter to slog, but you can't teach a slogger to bat. So it goes back to the very basics of coaching. We see a lot of white ball cricket. We see a lot of guys nowadays sticking their front leg down the wicket and just throwing their hands at the white ball, using wrists, the traditional high elbow, getting your shoulder to where you want to play the shot is not as prevalent as it used to be. But Jeremy Lawler is certainly one of those guys who you can see he has a good, solid basic technique, but he can manoeuvre that into a white ball T20 game, a strike rate of 188.
Yeah, really good stuff so far this season from Lawler. He had a very disappointing tour of Bangladesh with the Ireland Wolves, but he shone for the Northern Knights so far this season in both the IP50 and now the IP20. Pressure on young Alistair Frost. Good change up, but it thuds into the knee. Oh, that sounded nasty. Of Seamus Lynch will give away a bye. Yeah, young Alistair Frost brought into the squad, replacement for Tyrone Kane. Played for Zimbabwe under 19s. Spent a bit of time over at Loughborough as well, 50 earlier in the season. against Leicestershire, one of those early season county games against the universities. No more as a batsman, but he's done a reasonably good job with the ball this weekend for the Reds as well.
Yeah. It was a very hard act to replace Tyrone Keane. Real talisman, skipper for the Munster Reds. Not easy to come in, but he stuck his hand up in difficult circumstances sometimes.
Yeah, poor old Ted Williamson, the head coach of the Munster Reds, must be tearing his hair out. Not just those 3 big injuries we've kept referring to, but then this weekend just shoring his 13-man squad down to 11 fit players, and really it's 10.5 fit players with PJ Moore not able to wicket keep.
Yeah, and it's been every one of his top players. It's been all his big guns, you know. But I think there seems to be a good camaraderie within the squad. They're not moaning about it. They're not letting it dictate how they're going to play. They're still going to try their best. They're still going to get their heads up, and
they're going to fight, the men from Munster. There's no doubt about that. You're going to have a big task to not just contain the rest of this innings, but to have any chance of chasing down what's going to be surely the record total of the season, the IP20 season. 5 overs remain. Over now to Alan Lewis and Andrew Blair White. The score 159 for 4.
Thank you to Andrew and to Peter. What has been a excellent innings thus far from the Northern Knights. 159 for 4. Jeremy Lawler, extremely impressive with his 59 not out. But Matt Ford came into the attack from the Mason Road end the previous over, just going for the 3 runs and taking the wicket of Harry Tector.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's actually come in so late into the attack. He's had many roles in this Munster team so far with the ball. He's opened the bowling. Bowled at various stages. Strange old action. Matt Ford, couple of hops, couple of skips. And whatever you think of yourself.
You'd have to be impressed with the way the Knights have approached this innings. They've never really let up. Obviously a brilliant start from Paul Sterling at the top of the order. But there's been contributions all the way. And Jeremy Lawler's playing an absolute gem of an innings here. That's a bad misfield. It's a bad misfield from the captain, PJ Moore. And Lawler gets another boundary.
That's what you would call, Andrew, the classic Sydney Harbour Bridge. And PJ Moore, of course, normally would have the gloves, but reasonably badly damaged finger. He's been struggling with it. Took a super catch in front of the commentary position a couple of overs ago. Be interesting to see to the Knights past the 200 mark. We had a little discussion amongst ourselves.
Yeah, well, I opted for 206 in our little off.
I was a bit sleepy at 192, it has to be said. I think 200 will be exceeded. I don't know what I was thinking with 192.
You were asleep at the wheel, Alan.
Well, we were concentrating, of course, on a little bit of YM Seconds, who nipped over the line with 13 off the last over to win. Got us all a bit excited. Against the villagers out in Malahide.
Yeah, we both got a little bit overexcited, perhaps.
As you say, Jeremy Lawler's played very well here. 65 not out now. From a mere 37 deliveries. Of course, made his move from south to the north this season, plying his trade for the Knights. As you say, we could be in line for the highest total, almost definitely in line for the highest total of of this championship so far. Game 12. And I'm sure the Knights, Andrew, will be looking for a bonus point victory here today, which will make the final 3 games of this IP20 series all the more interesting. Of course, with the Leinster Lightning beating the Northwest Warriors earlier this morning, it would have been reasonably dead rubberish had we been getting to September had the Northwest Warriors won, but Leinster Lightning, fantastic fight back.
Yeah, it was a seriously good performance from the Leinster Lightning this morning to defend just 127. Josh Manley coming into the attack from the pavilion end. I think it's almost the first time he's bowled from the pavilion end this weekend. Been mostly used from the Mason Road end of the ground, but he's got a big job here. 4 overs to limit damage, but that's not going to help. Jeremy Lawler has absolutely smashed that over long off over Jack Carty's head, and Heatley Tector had been sitting there for the last 12 overs, and he's luckily just gotten out of the way, because that could have gone straight for his head.
He's just announced to me he would have caught it comfortably. I'd question that. Never fancied under the high ball did our chairman, managing director of HBV Studios. That's going to be another plundered boundary. Josh Manley taking some tap here.
I think on second guessing, I could well have been a bit asleep with my prediction of 206 here, because Jeremy Lawler is hitting it to all parts. He moves on to 75. It's been a stunning innings, just 39 deliveries.
You've got to think he's eyeing up 100 here, Andrew.
Yeah, you'd have to think so. T20 hundreds, so rare. We saw PJ Moore get to 95, not out, earlier this weekend. That's a full toss from Manley, and it's another 6 onto the mound from Jeremy Lawler. Just missing his block hole delivery there, Manley. Square leg was in the ring, just helped along, helped round the corner by Lawler. He moves to 81. The Northern Knights to 183 for 4. And that's meat and drink for a man who's hitting it as well as Jeremy Lawler.
Buffet ball, that really. Getting himself wide outside off stump to access that short boundary, which is clever of Lawler.
He's been given after, it was a stifled appeal really. I didn't know whether it was one where everyone almost took it for granted, but Rowley Black has given Jeremy Lawler out, and his knock of 81 comes to an end. On the replay you can see there it was a thick inside edge. I think Lawler knew his fate, just waiting for Rowley Black to do the honours. But an excellent innings from Jeremy Lawler comes to a close. 81.
Extraordinary half-hearted appeal there, Andrew. Bowler didn't really seem that interested. Keeper hardly said a jot. But he's gone, Jeremy Lawler, for a very, very good 81 from 42 deliveries towards their cause. And there's the card. 3 been all go from the word go. Virtually most of the batsmen had going a strike rate at 200. Harry Tector, 24 from 22, will feel he was subdued.
He was a little bit in the context of the rest of the innings, but some fierce hitting on show. As I say, started off by Paul Sterling. It's 46 from just 23 deliveries. Josh Manley, he's gone for 16 in this over, but most importantly, he has managed to get the wicket of Jeremy Lawler. Hopefully for the Reds that will stunt some momentum. But Rue Pretorius has come in. That's a super shot. First delivery, wide of extra cover, and gets him 2 to start off his innings.
Good shot that from Rue Pretorius, clearing the left leg there and getting it through extra cover. Jack Carty might have done himself a bit of damage. There is a propensity for fielders sometimes when there's no need to go to your knees. They can go to their knees when there's a swooping gather. Get the ball back in as quick as you can.
Would you say that you were a swooper and gatherer back in your day?
I would have been more a swooper and a gatherer, yes. I think if there was times you needed the dive. In fact, it was quite funny. It was only late in my career, Hansi Cronje, we actually practiced diving stops and even went even more innovative with A.D. Burrell, who in the middle of winter instructed his squad to get wetsuits. They went out to the mud in Balbriggan, dived around the place to practice this whole business of your elbow not hitting the ground, getting used to sliding across the turf. Make sure you hold those low grabs. So it just shows you the lengths that people will go to.
Yeah, Matt Ford continuing here. He's been very economical in the context of this innings, just going at under a run of ball. Bowling to Neil Rock and Pretorius. Neil Rock I've been really impressed with this weekend.
Has a good weekend. Thought he kept wicket very well yesterday too. And it can tend to follow that way. You know, if you're scoring some runs with the bat, it can have that habit of lifting other aspects of your game.
Carved away by Pretorius. And Neil Rock has just slipped trying to turn for two there, so they opt against it.
That would be an example of a possible swoop as opposed to a dive from Fionn Hand. The Fionn Hand Appreciation Society is gathering momentum. And that could be out. Indeed is. Very good catch down there at long on. Just trying to get a clear identity. I think it's Frost down there. Indeed it is. Good catch. Down on the boundary. Didn't quite get it, Neil Rock, and he's held on. Good catch that. Had the rope to contend with. It's something that we see actually, Andrew, a lot. They do a lot of practicing of this, parrying back, judging where the boundary is. And he judged that to perfection.
Yeah, he's made that look an awful lot easier than it was. There, Mike Frost, an excellent catch, and it just goes to show this Matt Ford spell has been very helpful. 2 for 13 from his 2.5. Neil Rock doing the right thing, trying to keep that run rate alive for the Northern Knights as they try to push over 200. He's connected with a fair few slog sweeps and hits over long on so far this weekend, just falling short this time of asking. And it brings Ross Adair to the crease, and I think everyone knows the power he possesses. He pulled off one of the greatest catches we're going to see for a long time here yesterday against the Leinster Lightning to dismiss Kevin O'Brien. But now he's got the bat in hand. And he's usually exciting to watch.
Well, of course, opens the batting for this club. And he's going to comfortably come back for 2 there. Perhaps in the batting bragging rights in the Adair household, it could be interesting Sunday dinner tonight. They make their way back to Belfast. But that has to be a case really to potentially get Ross Adair up the order. I don't know what your feelings on that, Andrew, are. Regularly see him week in, week out with strike rates of 150, 200. Very powerful man. Of course, his brother Mark up at 5 in this refreshed night's order.
Yeah, I'd be thinking similar, but you do look at the Knights' order, certainly today, and go, well, who's he going to be in place of? Paul Stirling and James McCollum. Opening the batting, Jeremy Lawler, I think, has proven an awful lot of people this weekend what he can do with the bat in T20 rather than the longer format. Captain Harry Tector at 4. I'm not against Mark Adair being promoted up the order to 5. Neil Rock in 6. It's very hard to get Ross Adair in the order.
Well, I suppose perhaps the place that he does most of the damage for his club. And, James McCollum has batted 3 in a lot of his cricket, and I just sometimes think for the sake of a start, and we saw it today, obviously Paul Sterling, having only scored 1 from 5 deliveries in the previous 2 games, bludgeoned 46 as we all know he can do. But that power play can be such an effective place to be for those type of strikers.
Yeah, well, I was definitely surprised to see Ross Adair not up the order last week without Paul Sterling there. We saw Luke Georgeson at the top of the order for a couple of games. As you say, just didn't seem maybe Adair could fill that void when Sterling's not there. But I think when Paul Sterling is there, that need for the, I suppose, power hitter in the first 6 overs, isn't quite as required, because he can do it to such great effect. It's a good piece of fielding from Ali Frost, not easy whatsoever. From Josh Manley bowling, and it was a extremely hard cover drive from Ross Adair. It's always difficult when it lands around 5 to 10 yards in front of you there. It can skid on the surface. But he's done well. Kept it to just a single. Yeah, lovely shot from Rue Pretorius there. A few men on the bank signalling 6. Be interesting to see. Yeah, no, 6 has been awarded to Rue Pretorius there.
Few men. That's my wife there, Andrew, the green. Oh, you're talking up the top of the bank. I see. Obviously there in the green rug over the knees. Stay warm, darling.
Yeah, it's much better from Josh Manley. Really well executed Yorker. Well, that brings up the 200 for the Northern Knights. Halfway through the 19th over, it's been a stunning innings from everyone involved on this side. They've really come out with a point to prove. They were disappointed with their performance yesterday against the Leinster Lightning. They just weren't at the races whatsoever, but right back at it today.
I think both of our predicted scores, ABW, are going to take a burden here.
Well, you're already well out of the game.
Well, I'm well out of the game, but you're definitely going to be out of the game very shortly.
That's a lovely shot from Ross Adair. Small bit of width on offer from Josh Manley. The length was right. The line, not so much. Adair's managed to free the arms. And he's got it over the 2 men there. There's short third man on a backward point. As you can see, he's going for that wide line. We've seen throughout this weekend almost a deep backward point employed at times when that sort of plan and idea is being put into place, but it wasn't there, and it's gone away for 4 off the bat of Adair.
I was only going to say that the amount of balls that have gone down to that region for 4 is incredible.
Full toss this time from Manley. Again, very good work from Ali Frost out on the deep cover boundary. Very clean work. Just the 2 to finish off Manley's final over there. 15 from it. Northern Knights 206 for 6. And unless there's a maiden in this final over, my prediction will be out the window, just like your own, Alan.
Very much so. I got it comfortably wrong. You're just going to get it wrong.
Now we're going to see Matt Ford bowl the final over here. They haven't opted to have gone back to seam. But Matt Ford has been very good, and sometimes you see captains just almost resorting to type here and bringing a seamer back on for the final over. Matt Ford's bowled 2 for 17 in 3 overs. By far the pick, and good to see him getting rewarded for that spell to bowl this final over. It is a bit of a risk-reward call, obviously bowling off spin the final over, but it's a big leg side boundary. You have to be hitting against the spin to access the short offside boundaries, so be interesting to see where Pretorius and Adair do try to line up, trying to get as many boundaries as possible.
I don't often think it's as much an issue as many people think it is. If you can pace on the ball, it's a big boundary out there. And again, that's possibly Alan Neil adjudicating that a wide. Wouldn't mind seeing that again. Matt Ford trying to slide across.
That was a real drag down from Ford, and he's really gotten away with that. Pretorius is going to run back for 2. He'll be a little bit disappointed, Pretorius, as that hasn't gone to the boundary. But another 2 gained. He's on to 14 from 7. Ross Adair 10 from 5. Yet again, continuing this trend. Batters batting at a strike rate of 200 for the Knights.
Oh, he's nearly taken out his playing partner. That was a lovely bit of footwork from Ross Adair. A little bit of a hop and a skip. Can be a very dangerous place to be for both umpire and player. Happened to me one season, got a terrible bad break of a thumb, one of my playing partner, and that's gone off an outside edge. Terrible frustration, but Matt Ford firing that through like a medium pacer. Just got the edge of Ross Adair's bat.
Yeah, more runs to be added to the kitty down in third man. There's been plenty of those in this innings. Which is a bit fortuitous for Adair, but he swung hard. He's on to 14.
That's a cracking shot. You felt from the minute that left the bat, Andrew, the umpire would have been raising both hands, and indeed Alan Neil is doing just that. Some serious bat speed through that, and to one of the longest parts of the ground, and it's 6 runs. Massive total here for the 220 with 2 balls to go. Andrew.
Yeah, well, Ford gave that one a little bit more air, and it's been deposited. And probably no surprises to see him resort to those almost medium pace tactics. Excellent piece of work from Seamus Lynch up to the stumps. Adair 20 off 8. That was a massive dig, that previous 6. Can he get anything off this final delivery? 220 for 6 the Knights.
And through for a bye, which is going to bring us to a conclusion. So 221 for 6. 222 for the Munster Reds to pass the Northern Knights total. But I think the one thing the Northern Knights will have on their mind, Andrew, is a bonus point victory here, which will certainly put them back in the hunt for the final series of 3 games, and it's going to be evenly poised. It's the first time actually we're seeing behind us the light roller going out. The heavy roller has been employed for most of the mid-innings decisions for the side batting second. That was a useful partnership at the end. Ross Adair, very useful cricketer.
Yeah, himself. And Rue Pretorius putting on 34 from 15 deliveries there at the back end of that innings.
It'll be interesting for us to see the bowling figures on the batting card here. Look at that for the batting card. As you say, Andrew, probably anyone who got in, all striking at 200. Starting, of course, with Paul Stirling. James McCollum, even a 16 off 8, hit the ball very cleanly. Lawler was the standout innings, 81 from 42 deliveries. And the little cameos at the end, Ross Adair, Ruin Pretorius, bringing what will be an unassailable total, I would imagine. There was enough partnerships there, particularly at the top of the order. Stirling, McCollum, Lawler, Tector, and that little cameo at the end. It'll be interesting for you to see these bowling figures, Andrew. I wouldn't think they make pretty reading.
No, they don't indeed. Matt Ford, the standout, 2 for 31 from 4 for him. He got only 1 bar Mike Frost to be less than 10 and over. Frost just going for 35 from his 4 overs, but a few ones that a few of the bowlers won't really want to be looking at. Josh Manley did take 2 wickets, but going for 56 runs from his 4 overs. Fionn Hand going at 13 and over as well. It was a tough day at the office in the field for the Munster Reds. And they've got an almighty run chase of 222 to come in the second innings here at over 11 and over.
When you talk about 11 and over, the Knights will have one thing on their mind, a bonus point victory to bring them to a more probable 13 points on the table. So,
Segment we've had throughout the entirety of the IP20 festival this weekend, and also the IP festival last weekend in Pembroke.
and interestingly, that's the Knights' highest total before today, 209 for 5 against the Reds in Carrickfergus in 2017. Compliments of Ger Siggins. Thank you very much for that, Ger. So a mammoth total. And as we say, we're going to be passing over to Andrew Leonard for Beyond the Boundary before we begin coverage of the reply from the Munster Reds.
Time to embrace the giant spirit of Derry Londonderry. Visit discovernorthernireland.com.
Smash It and It's Wicked are new action-packed fun programmes for kids to try out cricket at your club.
Attract new players and coaches to your club and grow the sport of cricket in Ireland.
Smash It is for children aged 5 to 9 and is all about having fun, trying out batting, bowling, fielding and wicket keeping.
It's Wicked is for girls aged 9 to 13 and is built on game-based cricket fun with friends.
Programmes contain 6 to 8 sessions of fun and safe training for kids.
Clubs will receive all the equipment you will need for your sessions.
And free activator training is provided to all clubs interested. Activators will receive free programming resources and an activator top and t-shirt.
Get your club involved today and have fun introducing more kids to cricket.
Sign your club up now.
Why cricket? Cricket is a great sport for all children regardless of gender, age or ability.
It's also a non-contact sport which promotes teamwork and individual skill development.
Participation is all about getting children active and excited about cricket through discovery and play. But this can't happen without a little bit of help, and that's where you come in.
Smash It and It's Wicked. Rely on volunteers like you. As an activator, you will plan and deliver safe, fun and inclusive sessions that promote participation and create great experiences.
The importance of your role as an activator cannot be underestimated. You will help ensure that there is a new generation of players, fans, umpires, coaches, scorers and cricket leaders.
Yeah, hello and welcome to the final Beyond the Boundary of the weekend. It's game 12. We've had 2 fantastic weekends of cricket. From Dublin to up here in the beautiful northwest in Derry. We've had action aplenty on the pitch and some fascinating chats off the pitch. I've got Peter Gillespie, capped of course more than 100 times for Ireland from all the way back in 1995 to his swan song in 2007. Peter, your reflections on this, the second festival of the IP20?
Yeah, I think the format in general is a fantastic and innovation and idea. Just to get all the teams together for one weekend, playing 3 games, one a day. And you can see as the weekend progresses how things can change. It gets very topsy-turvy. I think there's been a bit of inconsistency from all sides this weekend, but we've definitely seen a resurgent Leinster Lightning, and that's pushed them up near the top of the table. It's kept the Warriors in check, who up until that last game were looking like they were going to be runaway leaders. So the tournament's still a lot to play for.
Yeah, let's have a chat about that points table at the moment. The Northwest Warriors, they sit atop, but they could have potentially taken an unassailable lead if they could have chased down that 127 this morning. They've played 6 matches, won 4, lost 2, 18 points for them. The Leinster Lightning, the reigning champions in second, played 6, won 3, lost 3, 14 points. And the 2 sides that we're commentating and watching upon here, the Reds and the Northern Knights. The Reds currently in 3rd place, but you'd have to think the Northern Knights are going to take a win. Both sides on 8 points at the moment. The Knights so disappointing yesterday, but hugely impressive with the bat in the first innings so far this afternoon.
Yeah, and it just shows you what happens when Paul Sterling fireworks come. It really galvanises the team. It gave them the fantastic platform. Jeremy Lawler just built on it fantastically, and it's a formidable total now for the Munster Reds to come and attack.
What have you been most taken with this weekend? The standard of fielding, the bowling, spin bowling, fast bowling, the batting. The batting's been a bit inconsistent perhaps?
The batting's been inconsistent, but I think we've seen whenever someone has scored, how they've scored, they've really applied themselves. I think it's been a difficult wicket at times, but it's been a wicket I felt that's offered a little bit for everything. Bowlers that bowled well got value of it. Batters that applied themselves got runs, but just not enough people did it. Not enough people applied themselves over the course of the 3 days, and I think that's reflected in some of the scores that we've seen.
Do you feel some of the batsmen maybe haven't adjusted to the conditions as well as they could have? You think about this morning, the Warriors failing to chase down 127. It's the same wicket a couple hours later, and the Northern Knights are smashing 221 on it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if anyone, they had the best benchmark in how PJ Moore batted on the first day to chase down a similar total against Leinster. He just was a bit watchful, a bit respectful at the start. You know, realised the danger of the Leinster Lightning was going to come primarily with Josh Little by McCarthy, and he just slightly circumspect, built his innings and finished with a fantastic 90, got their team over the line. The Northwest had that game plan there. It was a similar total, and they decided to go about the chase in a different way. And I feel that they could have come out of this weekend with 3 victories. They haven't. It's good for the tournament, I'll not deny that, but I think there'll be a lot of reflection on that, and wonder how they missed an opportunity.
We kind of look ahead now to the internationals, really, isn't it? It's the visits to South Africa and Zimbabwe that'll be the primary focus going forward for July and August. But it's almost a shame that we're not going to see another IP20 festival maybe till all the way into September. That festival likely to be played in the NCU region. Yeah,
it is a shame, but we have a short summer in Ireland, so you do have to allow these blocks for the international games, and it's good that these weekends came back to back. It's given a lot of players an opportunity. Current internationals, people who want to become internationals or established internationals, it's given them 6 games of T20 cricket in a short space of time, white ball cricket, to really hone their skills. It's given the selectors some food for thought, I would imagine. We've talked extensively off camera about different options, what they're going to go for. I wouldn't like to be in that meeting. I think it's going to take a while, but you know, it is a couple of huge series coming up against South Africa and Zimbabwe.
Good problems to have though for the selectors, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, good problems to have. You know, there is a few batsmen not really in the form that they would like to be in, but it's given them a chance to really look at the options throughout the 4 teams. You know, we've seen 44 players on show, plus a few subs here and there, and you know, they're getting as broad a range as they possibly can when they sit down to make their final decisions.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have the thoughts of Peter Gillespie here, a real legend of Northwest and Irish cricket, and I want to talk to you specifically about another legend of Northwest and Irish cricket, and that's the great Roy Torrens. You know, his untimely death earlier in the year due to COVID. He was a great player for Ireland from 1966 to 1984, a selector, a president, and then probably most famously latterly in his career, a great manager of Ireland. And he went all along the way of that journey through all those famous World Cups in 2007, 2011 and 2015. We sadly miss him. There's not a day that we don't miss Roy. I want to talk to you about his legacy on the Irish game and the game here in the Northwest.
Yeah, it is a tragedy, and it's a huge loss to not only to the Northwest cricket fraternity, but to the wider Ireland cricket fraternity. Roy, as you say, held every role that he could. I first knew him as a selector when I first got capped, and then latter as a supporter, and then finally as a manager. So I had him in quite a few guises. He was absolutely fantastic company to be in, whether he made you laugh, whether he made you cry, whether he was telling his stories. He was just fantastic company to be in, and there's not too many that haven't paid a glowing tribute to the legend that is Roy Torrance.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some of those glowing tributes. You want to remember the man in the way that he would like to be remembered, with a smile and a chuckle. And if you haven't managed to get your hands on the book that I'm holding here, Uphill and Into the Wind, Big Roy, His Life in Cricket, written and compiled by his friends, that's being given out actually free of charge by the Cricket Writers of Ireland, and huge credit to them for pulling this together, and what's a beautiful publication. Peter, I've read your story in the book. Do you want to maybe recant it to us and explain his impact? He was there for your first cap, he was there for your last.
Yeah, as I say, my first cap, he was the person that rang me up to give me the great news, and I was absolutely delighted. He then came over, the first match he played was at Arundel. The next day was a 2-day game at Lords, and was really thrust into the spotlight. Roy was there, he was a great guiding hand, and unbeknown to me at the time, a few of my family had travelled over to watch the game at Lords, and when Roy discovered that they were in the stands, it was my father, my brother Michael, my mum, my brother Mark, and Michael, ever being the best dressed, he was the one with the blazer and the tie. So Roy decided he would organise a tour for every one of them throughout the Lord's Pavilion. But it involved a cheeky change around the back where they all had to swap the same blazer and tie just to get in round. But he done that. No one asked him to do that. He knew my family were there. He went out and sourced them in the crowd. He brought them up, and it was an absolute pleasure to be standing on the Lord's turf and look up at the players' balcony to see my father standing there. And it's an image that'll always stick with me. And that was the man that Roy was.
Yeah, and he seems to have been such a close confidant of all of the players that he stewarded through his tenure as manager. Can you just reflect on his contribution there in 2007 and how big a part he was of that journey to the Caribbean for the Irish World Cup?
Yeah, I said he fulfilled several roles, but even as a manager he fulfilled several roles. He was there for an arm round the shoulder when you needed it. He was there for a rocket when you needed it, which wasn't too often. He was a great confidant. He really mentored a lot of the younger guys. He was a father figure to a lot of them, and it's very, very sadly missed.
He's going to be sadly missed, but he's going to be much remembered. And next week at Brigade, his much loved Brigade, it's their centenary year. There's going to be a game paying tribute to his legacy, a side that you'll be playing in, I think, Peter, as well. You'll be donning the whites again against a Brigade 11, an Irish team that will have lots of players with more than 100 caps in it. That will be a really special day.
Yeah, well, it'll be a fitting tribute to the man. I spoke to William Porterfield when he rang me about participating in the game, and he waxed lyrical about every player who, without a single doubt, just said, yes, I'm in. And then when I looked at the team sheet and it was a who's who, I was slightly embarrassed to be in the company, to be honest, Lenny. And I looked like I'd be fine leg to fine leg, batting number 11, but I'm quite happy. I just want to turn up from the day and pay my personal tribute to the great man.
And here are the thoughts of Peter Gillespie on the great man, Roy Torrance. If you can get your hands on that book, Uphill and Into the Wind, Big Roy, His Life in Cricket, it's a fitting tribute. And we remember him and we miss him greatly. That's Roy Torrance. Our thoughts with him and all his family as always. But back to the action. You can see the players are back on the pitch. It's going to be a monstrous chase. The Munster Reds will need to pull off. They're going to need 222. Another great man up in heaven. That's Richie Benno. Choo 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 to win over to Andrew Blair White.
Yeah, thanks to Andrew Leonard and Peter Gillespie. A great chat about the legend Roy Torrance. As you can have a look though on a WASP on your screen there, they give Munster Reds a 1% chance, which I'm afraid seems fairly accurate. Chasing 222, Mark Adair is going to open the bowling. Seamus Lynch, young Terranure man, to open the batting with PJ Moore. Adair in for the first delivery.
I'm surprised it's even 1%, Andrew.
I don't think it physically can be 0%.
Okay.
But I suppose if you were in the Munster Reds camp right now, you've just got to approach this run chase in a fairly carefree matter and just hope you can get a few runs on the board and see where it takes you.
Absolutely. I just hope they're positive throughout whatever they get, Munster. They've been decimated by injury. None more than Murray Cummins with a side strain, practicing before the match.
It's quite a fair bit wide from marker there. Getting exaggerated movement away from the right-hander. The Northern Knights will be extremely happy with their effort earlier this afternoon. 221 with the bat. A real stunning innings.
Yep. Jeremy Lawler staking a claim, certainly. Hadn't seen him play a T20 innings like that. No, it's come off the edge of the bat there. And it will be a run to PJ Moore. But I can tell you something, Andrew. He's lucky he got an edge on that, because that looked very adjacent.
Yeah, he was slightly caught on the crease here, PJ Moore. Just a little inside edge onto the pad. You could hear it very audibly, a double noise. That saves PJ Moore. He gets down the other end. Seamus Lynch hasn't been in the runs this weekend. Very talented young man though. Hard hitting batter.
I think what's good for Seamus Lynch here is just to get an appreciation of what a level up. He is a very natural striker of the ball. Seamus Lynch plays for the Terranure club. You know, you go away from weekends like this maybe appreciating maybe what you have to do to become comfortable at this level. And hopefully that's something that he can do. It requires a lot of hard work.
That's thumped down Harry Tector's throat at mid-off. And that is the first wicket for the Northern Knights. It was short from PJ Moore. He obviously has to take the aggressive option, trying to get it up and over mid-off. But Tector's taking a good catch. And the leading talisman for the Munster Reds is out in the first over.
Yeah, good catch that from Harry Tector. Made a lot of ground away to his left. And PJ Moore, understandably, looking to take the aggressive approach, and he kind of got a bit of the bottom of the bat there. And more so, no different yesterday to the fans here to see Paul Sterling, who went very cheaply, I'm sure. In terms of his reputation as a hard-hitting batsman, PJ Moore will be disappointed with that. But he's had a tough weekend, got a bad blow to the finger. I think he might be having it looked at when he returns to Dublin. Of course, when you're a wicket-keeper, it doesn't make life any easier in that department.
Yeah, we're going to see Greg Ford up the order. Obviously, as you mentioned, Alan Murray Cummins missing out. It would be the normal number 3 for the Reds. Greg Ford promoted. Played a nice little innings at the end of the Munster Reds innings yesterday. Got 19 not out of just 10 deliveries. There's now a big chance higher up the order. But they did cross, so Lynch back on strike. 4 for 1.
I think we're getting an indication here, Andrew, of how Munster might approach this. And not surprisingly either, really.
Well, they have to try and go after it. I know it does look a steep ask. 11.5 runs and over required. At the same stage, you've got to try and start well, and that's going to have to start in the power play. The Northern Knights scored 72 runs in their 6 overs of the power play. And a single for Lynch. Into the covers to finish off the first over. A good one from Mark Adair. The Munster Reds 5 for 1.
Good over that by Adair, really. Seems to have got himself back into reasonable bit of shape. Obviously he was suffering with his ankle. You regularly see it strapped as he goes to the change room, but he seems to have been working hard with Brendan Connor in terms of the strength and conditioning coach. It'd be good to see him back, because when he's on song, he's very, very good. And this is Graham MacArthur. He was kind of intimating with his bowling. He says he needs a lot of overs. He hasn't had a huge amount of cricket. Kind of struggled a wee bit for rhythm, I would have thought, over the course of the 3 days.
It's in the slot from MacArthur to start off, and that's just a sign of Seamus Lynch's talent. Over the top for 4. His first boundary today. Yeah, MacArthur, these T20 games probably wouldn't be suiting his style of bowling, just the way he usually bowls, and also, as you say, short spells. No, not that ability to get into any sort of rhythm.
That's more Graham MacArthur's length just there. First ball was a wee bit of a throwdown, you would have thought. But a very effective bowler on his day, as he proved in that Irish Wolves Dutch series when he was on song.
Yeah, he was superb down in Oak Hill. Getting a best of 6 for 32. But you know he's bowling well when he's bowling that slightly back of a length delivery, really. With MacArthur at times, I think he'd know himself he can get a little bit floaty when it's just a little too full. And when he bowls back of a length and gets the ball to start moving around with the new ball, it's nobody you wouldn't want to face less.
And now Seamus Lynch joining the party. He's clubbed that down the ground. Advancing down the ground. This is going to be good for Seamus Lynch, because this is the way we know he can play.
Yeah, well, I think this is where a big run chase gives him that freedom to really have a go. Nobody's going to be too disappointed if he gets out trying to play a big shot. They have to try and score runs.
And he's gone again, and that's probably going to be 4 more, Andrew. It certainly is. He's skewed that out on the leg side. No one out deep on the leg side for Seamus Lynch, and I think he's going to look to, as you say, continue this aggressive approach, and quite right too, as you say, Andrew. It's going to do him the world of good.
Well, that was quite clever batting. Square leg had just come into the ring. Mid off had gone back to long off. This time MacArthur beats that outside edge. So just a dot to finish off. 12 runs from the over, 3 boundaries for Lynch. He started very impressively, 15 from 10 for him. The Munster Reds are 17 for 1 after 2.
Well, it's a dare to continue. And again, it's been common practice really throughout this series. Graham MacArthur has been given the solitary over by Harry Tector. Whether we see that at the conclusion of this third over is going to be very interesting. I see Ben White warming up, so that tells its own story.
Yeah, well, we've seen Ben White being used in the power play throughout this weekend.
It's sneaky from Andrew Blair White in the commentary. He's a little tucked into a little Mars bar beside him. Doesn't seem to be. It's a nice shot forward. Strategically placed Mars bar there, ABW. You quiet little guzzle to yourself.
Nice. Now you've managed to procure yourself a Snickers now.
Little Snickers, little peanut job. Yeah, very, very impressed. Thanks very much, T-Street. Keeping us all amused at the back of the bus. Or back of the box, I should say.
Back of the bus.
Back of the bus. Oh dear. Now.
I think that one just slipped from Marcus there. Trying to bowl a slower delivery. And it's looped well over Seamus Lynch's head almost. And down the leg side. Not one that Mark Adair will want to watch back too many times. But
it's all happening out here.
Means a no ball called by Rowley Black. And a free hit now for Seamus Lynch. Another opportunity to try and get one away. Just thuds into the pads, unable to get any bat on it. He'll be disappointed with that. Lynch was a low full toss from Adair. Probably pretty well bowled. Now that you have a Snickers bar beside you, what would be your chocolate bar of choice in an ideal world?
Mars bar from the fridge. Don't like it. I like a little bit of a bite.
You're just eyeing up my Mars bar
Not
beside
really.
me
I'm
here.
quite happy with my Snickers and my Star bar. Do you ever get a Star bar? A peanutty crunch. And that is going to be the end of Seamus Lynch, and indeed it is. Caught quite comfortably there by James McCollum.
Yeah, it was an innings of some promise from Seamus Lynch. That just shorter delivery from Mark Adair, tucking him up ever so slightly. Didn't get anywhere near in control. And as routine, the catches you're going to get at this level for James McCollum, who completes the job. Adair's got 2 quick wickets. The Munster Reds 19 for 2.
It's a bit of a dreary feel now, Andrew, it has to be said, isn't there? Just needs something to lift the spirits. And perhaps the Ford brothers might do that. Matt Ford, an aggressive player, can make an impact on a game quite quickly. And one would hope for the spectators that are here that they can derive some sense of entertainment from the remainder of this match.
Yeah, Matt Ford's been very impressive when we've seen him with bat in hand for the Munster Reds throughout this weekend. And last weekend for that matter, as Greg Ford tickles that one down to third man. They had crossed in the air after Lynch's dismissal. But it's been a lovely weekend here up in Bready. Brilliant work from all the ground staff to get us on Friday. We've had 2 lovely days now, yesterday and today. Good spectators in, especially this morning. Massive crowd in to watch the home Northwest Warriors. And everyone involved with Northwest Cricket and Breedy Cricket have been so accommodating. It's always lovely to come up here, a real habit up here playing cricket. It's just a way of life. It's a lovely place in Ireland to come and visit every now and then. Oh, well, that's very fortuitous.
Certainly is fortuitous. That must have been very close to leg stump, I would have thought. Mark Adair cramping up Matt Ford there. And I couldn't agree with you more, Andrew, in your sentiments. I very, very much enjoyed the trip to Breedy. Hospitality has been its usual superb. Lovely appointed cricket ground. And of course we got blessed with sunshine. A lot of the times I've been around Bready and played cricket in Bready, it's been very cold. But it's been warm for this weekend, which is lovely.
Yeah, Ford drilling that one towards mid-off. Get through for a single. Ends the third over with the Reds 25 for 2. Yeah, you managed to get away with one, Alan. Unfortunately on Friday it was absolutely Baltic up here. Now, luckily enough, it stayed dry, and the efforts of the ground staff can't go underappreciated. They are here at 5 a.m. Friday morning after a monsoon of rain on Thursday evening when we'd arrived. But it was cold.
Well, I'm glad I missed that. As I tuck into my Snickers bar.
Taste test out of 10.
Lovely. And Ben White's about to come into the attack, of course. Made the move north from Phoenix Cricket Club to CSNI. Understand he's very much enjoying himself. And again, looking to expand his career. He's bowled well. And interesting to see the number of leg spinners emerging. Of course, man of the match in only his second game for the Leinster Lightning today, Gavin Hoey. Fantastic figures.
But Ben White is bowling in the power play, which means only the two fielders back. And Matt Ford taking that opportunity, smearing that one over mid-off. And good to see that the Munster Reds are going to continue to come out and play aggressive cricket. Puts the pressure on the young leg spinner. There'll be 4 more. Brilliant again from Ford, this time bisecting extra cover in mid-off. Again, another strong shot. Boundary to start this over for the Munster Reds. Matt Ford certainly not going down without a fight here. He started with plenty of intent.
Very aggressive player of slow bowling is Matt Ford. He's already 13 from 4 deliveries. That's good bowling from Ben White, just tucking him up a bit. He wasn't going to get anything floated outside off stump there. That's clever from Ben White.
Now we see Ford trying to go for his slog sweep option, which he loves. Not getting it anywhere near the middle. Gets a single. Good recovery this from Ben White. Sense you're getting a bit of judgment for having a few nibbles of your Snickers in the commentary box.
That's a very good shot from Greg Ford, and it's going to make its way to the boundary. At this stage, required run rate 11.51. Keeping up with it this over, but that's very dainty from Greg Ford. And of course it's to the shorter end of the ground here, Andrew. And 4 runs, 13 from the over so far.
Yeah, good finish from White though. 13 runs from it though. Munster Reds 38 for 2 after 4.
Now to our right are getting a bit vocal again. They went very quiet. There was a lull. But they've got themselves moving again. It's quite cold. It's got a bit nippy now that the sun has gone down.
Would hazard a guess they're Paul Sterling fans.
Who isn't?
These men to our right, they're pleading with Captain Harry Textor to get Paul Sterling on to bowl. His right arm off breaks. Well, we're going to see Dave Delaney instead. His figures probably didn't reflect how well he bowled yesterday, I thought. I thought he bowled with good pace. A few thick edges away for 4, which can happen when you're operating at good pace, but stemmed the flow for a bit. Took the key wicket at George Dockrell.
Yeah, he's back off the long run again. We saw in the first game he was off maybe 10 paces. He's back off his long run again. I see him doing a lot of these bouncing exercises on his left leg before games. By David Delaney. A very athletic figure, David Delaney. Works hard in his fitness.
I think it's for the best for Irish cricket to see Dave Delaney bowling well and bowling fast.
You hear a lot of these younger fellas now talking about bulking and cutting. So he's done a bit of cutting, it seems, but he's in good shape. A little bit like Josh Little.
Doesn't quite get away with that one. He is trying to bowl that almost wide line delivery. He has third man and deep cover back yet again. Seeing a bowling side try to occupy a plan which doesn't allow the batters access this short leg side boundary. Just straining a little bit too much there, Delaney.
That's going to be 4, Andrew. Smeared away on the leg side by Matt Ford. And for as long as he's there, this will be entertaining, Andrew.
Yes, it will be indeed. And you can see there, Delaney's a little bit unlucky, really. Matt Ford has taken that from 8th stump line, I would hazard a guess, and has whipped it through mid-wicket. Prompts a change in the field. Square leg goes back. Cover comes into the ring, so I might see a change in approach from Delaney. And it's gone straight to where that deep cover would have been. A full toss from David Delaney. Another good shot from Matt Ford. He moves on to 22 from just 10 deliveries.
Strange that he's bowling that wide outside off stump line without a sweeper on the offside. Sure, he could take one of his fielders from the leg side.
That's well bowled from Delaney. Matt Ford stepping away, slightly trying to give himself a bit of width to flay away over that offside ring. But too much pace on offer from Delaney.
Andrew Leonard now back with the beanie on, which will give you an indication. A little bit nippy.
Clubbed again for Matt Ford. He's on the charge. He's on to 26 from 12 deliveries. Brings up the Munster Reds 50. 51 for 2 after 5 overs. That first Delaney over going for 13. We're going to have a change in the commentary box. Myself and Alan will take a few overs off, and we'll hand you over to Andrew Leonard and Peter Gillespie.
Thank you very much, gents. And yeah, the Munster Reds just trying to make a fist of this chase. Required run rate 11.4. Their run rate at the moment 10.2. Can these Ford brothers just keep this going for maybe 6 or 7 more overs and start to give the Knights a few nervous flutters?
Hopefully for the sake of the game, Lenny. But you see the key there, 2 wickets down already. As Ross Adair comes on from the Mason Road end. Bowled an absolute peach of a delivery to dismiss Andrew Balburney yesterday. He'll be looking to pick up some more with his canny left arm spin.
Smash straight back past Ross Adair, who's such a good fielder, and looks to me like he just didn't quite pick that up at first. Magnificent work by his brother on the boundary though. Scoops it back in, saves what was a certain 4. The brothers working in unison just like they did yesterday.
Yeah, half a hand on it there. Probably just took the sting out of it. And as you say, Mark helping his brother out. The brothers are there to the 4 again.
It's a lovely shot through the offside. Very different batsmen, Greg Ford and Matt Ford, as we see. It's a real family affair, Irish cricket. The two brothers batting together. And the last 2 balls bowled by a pair of brothers and fielded by the same pair of brothers.
Yeah, it's always been a recurring theme in Irish cricket. You have the Fords, the Frosts, you have the Tectors, the Adairs,
The O'Briens, the Gillespies,
the Davies. I played with both the Davies. 2 good Pembroke men.
Yeah, John and Peter. Peter famously getting that 100 for Ireland against the MCC at Lords all the way back, I think it was 1997. It's a family affair, Irish cricket always has been. 2 Ford boys will be watched on by the Irish national head coach, Graham Ford, of course. Very, very different styles and different techniques the way they apply themselves at the wicket.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Lenny.
That's going to be runs. That is not the line you can bowl with any field, really, let alone the field that Ross Adair has. Punished by Ford, moves into the 30s.
Yeah, I think you can see here, he almost feigned a reverse sweep. I don't know if that... Yeah, he feigned a reverse sweep, and I think that just made Ross Adair change his line at the last minute. He capitalised with the orthodox sweep.
A really nice atmosphere for the end of this festival. There's a few men, I think, from New Buildings, some from Strabane, really enjoying their cricket on the sidelines. Feels like a bit of a 2020 carnival atmosphere here, a bit like one of those games across at the grounds, and it's fair to say their favourite cricketer is Paul Sterling.
Yeah, well, we've had the Fee on Hand Appreciation Society with the Mullingar Mafia. We now have the Paul Sterling Appreciation Society with the Bready Bunch. So I think it's up to the NCU. Who's going to put their hands up when this festival comes to the NCU in September?
Surely it'll be Hollywood CC with Mark Adair, won't it? You would have thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, the great entertainment. I'm not sure if you can hear it quite in the background there. They've been chanting Sterlo, Sterlo, give us a wave for probably 3 or 4 overs there, and finally Paul Sterling relented, gave them a wave to great cheers. I don't know whether he's going to be encouraging them to do it more and more or putting an end to it, but they're adding good fun and festival feels to the end of this fine weekend of cricket. Pretorius into the attack. A nice little partnership this from the Fords, and 2020 is a funny game. I think everyone just felt at the halfway stage, oh well, game over. But that's not the way the Munster Reds play their cricket, is it? They'll fight right to the death.
Yeah, and I think someone should tell Wasp that. He's still showing 1%. He's not doing them too many favours. There's not a lot really you can do here except just go and bat with a bit of freedom when you've such a high run rate required for such a sustained period of time.
Down the ground. It will get more difficult though, of course, now outside of the power play. There's those 5 fielders allowed outside the circle. I think Mark Adair's a bit of a favourite as well. He gets a big cheer as he feels that delivery coming across from long on. But the boundaries are going to be much more difficult to find with 5 fielders out right on the rope.
Yeah, and they've already introduced spin into the attack, which is going to be difficult. You know, Ruben Pretorius is a bustling bowler that keeps it tight.
Real effort ball that time, bowled hard into the pitch. Slight misfield at backward point. Difficult one to stop that from Lawler. Bustling's, I think, a really good description of it. He's a funny run up and he kind of all legs and arms and gets it through.
Yeah, he's been a good addition to this night's team. Brings all 3 facets of the game with him.
Hit into the sky. I don't think that's going to carry to Mark Adair. The crowd wanted it to carry to Mark Adair, but completely losing his shape there. You could see all of his body weight, Matt Ford, going back onto the back foot. Just skied it really, just to the edge of the 30-yard circle, but he survives another single.
Yeah, probably came on him maybe slightly quicker than he anticipated. I think he was trying to go more leg side than it ended up. Got completely underneath it. They've got to keep going here. They've got to keep in the front foot.
Just checked down to third man by Greg Ford. Greg and Matt combining really nicely together. That required run rate, though, as soon as you have 1 or 2 bad overs, is going to spiral out of control. They need to keep that in check. It's over 2 a ball now, just 5 singles from this over.
Yeah, 5 singles and the key fact there. No boundaries so far, Lenny. And as you say, just outside the power play now, the boundaries become more difficult. This is where you need your real power hitters. This is where you need your William McClintocks, your guys that come in that can just hit good balls for 6.
I think you need an Andre Russell out there right now.
Andre Russell or Karen Pollard.
Were you watching the game last night, West Indies, South Africa? We'll talk about this at the end of the over. Down the track, really strong drive. Going to be work to do for Harry Tector. Does it so effectively. Won't be able to cut off the 2, but does save the boundary. End of the 7th over, 65 for 2. Yeah, that South Africa side, they are going to be on a plane to Ireland pretty soon, but they're playing a short T20I series to round out their time in the Caribbean. Made 160 against the West Indies. West Indies chased it down in 15 overs.
Yeah, and therein lies the disparity between Test cricket and T20 cricket for the West Indies and South African teams. West Indies roundly beaten in that Test series, but when it comes to the white ball T20 cricket, there's a reason why they've been 2-time world champions.
Yeah, and you love your boundaries versus your dot ball percentage. Here's a stat for you from that game last night, that T20I. I think it was in Grenada, St George's. As Ben White comes back into the attack. Just the one over for him so far, the leg spinner. West Indies played out more dot balls in their 15 overs than South Africa did in their 20, yet they were still beaten by 8 wickets inside 15 overs. That's the number of 6s that the West Indies were smashing around that ground.
Yeah. It's an area of the game they've definitely targeted over the last few years.
If you look at it this way, they hit 10 more 6s than South Africa did. They hit 15. South Africa only hit 5. That's 60 runs in the difference.
Yeah, and if you get a chance to read an interview that Joss Butler gave about the influence of the West Indies T20 players on him in the IPL, what he learned from them about his 6 percentage and how he assesses run rates. I think it's on Crick Info. If you go and search that up, it was absolutely fantastic reading about how the modern T20 thinking has evolved, and that's been led by the West Indies players. They've been at the forefront of that evolution.
It's straight down the ground. That's a good, powerful, strong shot. Just a floated leg break, not the usual pace you see from Ben White, and into the hitting arc of Matt Ford. He punishes that down the ground, a couple of bounces, runs away for 4.
Yeah, good shot. He's just looped this slightly more than he normally does. But that was a good connection. And although Mark Adair was close to it, he didn't look at any stages he was going to get anywhere near it. Do you think in a situation like this it gives Ben White, with such a huge target, a bit more freedom to just toss that ball up, see if he can extract a bit more spinner bounce from the surface?
It does, but Ben White bowls a very solid stock delivery. This time the reverse sweep from Matt Ford well got away and dragged back by Harry Tector to cut off the boundary. Doesn't tend to go really slow through the air. You see some of the leg spinners operating around the world. Someone like Sandeep Lamachani is a great exponent of going slower and slower as a wicket wears more and more. Ben White's young, still learning his craft. Tournament's leading wicket taker, of course. Back-to-back reverse sweeps. That's a really good one, but a great stop from Ross Adair. He's been brilliant in the field all week. Brought great energy to this night side. 8 overs gone, 72 for 2. Peter, the T20 World Cup later in the year. I'll talk to you about that after we take a look at this replay of a great diving stop from Adair.
Yeah, very good connection. And once again, not for the first time this weekend, Ross Adair's been to the night's rescue.
Would you make the West Indies favourites for that T20 World Cup under the tutelage of a man you know well, Phil Simmons, the ex-Irish coach?
Yeah, there's so much experience. There's so many of the players that play in T20 leagues all around the world. They play so much T20 cricket. They know the game inside out. They have what I consider to be, outside of a mystery spinner, they have what I consider to be one of the most important facets covered, and that is their ability to clear the ropes at any ground at any stage of the innings. And that's very hard to contain. It's very hard to rein in. They know that no total's out of their reach.
They just love chasing down as well, don't they?
Yeah.
They win the toss. It won't really matter the conditions. They'll just bowl first. If the other side gets 200, they'll try and chase that down. It won't matter. Brilliant to watch. Cut away this time by Greg Ford. Just want to talk to you about that South African team that played last night, because that's going to give you an indication as to who might come and take Ireland on in the limited over formats. They had Rabada, Norkea and Ngidi, that pace trio to the fore. Tabrez Shamsi is a really good left arm wrist spinner. Probably see him, but George Linde, the left arm orthodox spinner, was smashed everywhere, as was Risa Hendricks, 1 over, none for 21. Look at those numbers from the West Indians. Andre Fletcher, Evan Lewis, Chris Gale, Andre Russell. 161 in 15 overs.
Yeah, and if you look at the strike rates there, 157, 202, 133, 191, and that's the 4 batsmen that got to the crease. That's just, they don't hide their game plan. They're almost a team full of Paul Sterlings. They're going to come out and play one way. They're just going to go front foot. They're going to score as quickly and as high as they possibly can.
Hit down the ground. That is huge! An almighty blow. One of the biggest of the entire festival. Maybe the biggest of the IP20 so far. It was into the slot from Pretorius. Ford smashed it high and handsome, miles over the indoor centre. He's batting like one of those men from the Caribbean. That is a massive blow.
Yeah, that was right in the slot. He offered him a bit of width, and he's just climbed into that, and it's brought out the huge from my co-commentator Andy Leonard. And he's still warming up there. He still likes that. He doesn't feel he's quite loose enough yet. They're gonna be looking for a new ball definitely for that one. That's gone almost over the indoor centre.
He just missed it off our cameras there. After he smashed that all the way for 6, he just went through some limbering up exercises. He was loosening out the back. Matt Ford, if you haven't come across him or met him in person, he has got a massive upper body rig, as it's referred to by the young cool people around the grounds. Massive big guns. He hits a big ball. I don't think I've seen one bigger ever hit at this ground than that one.
That came out of the slot. I know William McClintock hit some fantastic sixes over the weekend, and PJ Moore hit one off Andy McBride down to the play park here to the left of our position, but that was absolutely mullered.
Impressive strike. 46 he's on now. Tries to hide it away outside off stump, and Rowley Black is going to extend the arms and indicate that's too wide. Pretorius does not look happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that the batsman's been shuffling around. He's probably moved across. Wasp now 8%. It's climbing. It's on the climb, Lenny. But we've seen this.
Peter.
But we've
Game
seen
on.
this. We've seen this tactic here employed by several teams across the weekend. 2 deep covers, backward, deep point, deep cover, bowling wide on that line.
It's going to be another wide. That one's miles outside the off stump. If that could be 2 wides, it would have been. But you can see what Pretorius is trying to do, as we've seen the bowlers so often from this pavilion end. Just get it away from the hitting arc if you can.
Yeah, and that's the problem. If it doesn't work out, you get wider and wider and wider. That one almost off the cut strip. But they have their game plan. They have their field set accordingly. Pretorius is doing his best.
Tries to repeat the dose, but just almost tries to overhit, doesn't he? He's come across that, trying to target the leg side. I think if he'd stayed in his original batting position, that probably would have been a wide, but he's come across his stumps a little.
Yeah,
Greg Ford going down with a bit of advice to
yeah.
him.
He almost tried to hit it too hard and completely lost his shape, and you can see there when you try to overhit the ball how your head just falls off to the side. You lose your line of sight, your vision.
He lost his bat as well. So does the power which he swung through at it. We can see that the Ford brothers trying to target Pretorius. They think that he's the one in the Knights' attack to really go at.
Combination of Pretorius and this pavilion end has been notorious all weekend for right-handers. It definitely is the shorter side of the ground. There's no doubt about that. The breeze is still assisting. I think if we had a pound for every 6 that went on to the indoor centre or the pavilion this weekend, then it would be rich men.
Yeah, that was the biggest of the lot, though. No doubt about that from Matt Ford. An almighty blow. Keeper up to the stumps now. Greg Ford is really just playing an anchor role in comparison to his brother. 15 off 14 deliveries. Matt Ford's the one taking the aggressive route. He's playing the Paul Sterling role, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's an innings that's badly needed for the Munster Red. That run rate climbing up to almost 12.5 required, but their team run rate 9.5, so they're making an absolute fist of this.
It just over the head of James McCollum. It's going to be 50. A second 50 in interprovincial cricket. For Matt Ford, what a knock it is. And his Munster Reds teammates rise to him and he salutes them. He salutes the men up at the Northwest home crowd as well. 51 off 26 deliveries. A sparkling innings. 9 fours and 1 6. If he can double that up, it's very much game on.
Absolutely, and you see there that strike rate almost 200. This is the innings that the Munster Reds badly needed. They need someone to just come in and go with that rate, go solidly, take as much of the strike as you can, and to the absolute delight of the crowd over to our right, the main man himself on screen there, Paul Sterling, comes on to have a bowl for his Knights team.
Well, the chants from the crowd throughout basically this entire fielding innings have been, we want Sterlo. We want Sterlo. They've got their wish. Because Ben White has been unceremoniously whipped out of the attack. 2 overs, none for 20 for him, the tournament's leading wicket taker. And Harry Tector has relented. He's heard the crowd, he's listened to them. He said, alright, better throw Paul Sterling the ball, see what he can do. So often under-bowled. And the crowd getting really into it here. Here comes Paul Sterling with his off breaks. So slow through the air, pumped down the ground. He nearly has a wicket from his first delivery.
Yeah, you know there's always going to be something happening when Paul Sterling's in the game, whether it's bowling. Took 3 catches yesterday. Fantastic batting. I think he's going to like to give this a bit of air, entice the batsman, saying, you want to hit me for 6, you're going to have to do it to the big end. Come and get me.
Goes flatter through the ground, reverse, switch hit almost. Brilliant batting this from Matt Ford. He's hitting 360 degrees around the ground. He just pumped one over the indoor centre, straight down the ground. This time he reverse hits through the offside for 4. Brilliant batting.
And he gets in position so quickly. But again, the key element there, he keeps his head so still over the ball. And profits from another boundary.
Right into the block hole from Sterling. He crouches so low as well. And we were talking about this off air. It's something that batsmen more and more these days like to do to spinners in particular.
Yeah, they almost have to come up with the shot. They almost have to generate power because of the lack of pace from the spin bowlers. Almost feel it, that crouching position, you know, that gives more rotation of the hips. It's not the quicker bowlers, you can stand and deliver.
So slow through the air. That's been delivered. I suspect it's something around 35 miles an hour. You don't see too many slower balls in interprovincial cricket. Sterling has gone slow and loopy through the air, deceived Greg Ford, who can just get through for a leg bye.
Yeah, and has brought Matt Ford back on strike again.
Slow through the air, heaved into the leg side. Is that going to be a chance? It's not quite going to carry, I don't think. A good effort from James McCollum. It just died on him at the last minute. Did he get his hands underneath that, Peter?
He never got his hands underneath it. I think he basically stopped at 4. Again, slow loopy. Leg side, hit me to the big boundary. Never looked like it was catching it.
Smash down the ground. Is this going to be an opportunity for long off? It's not. And the 2 forwards just ended up watching the ball. I think Harry Tector and Graham McCarter both just watched the ball as well. A bizarre piece of cricket. It was all happening in that Paul Sterling over.
Yeah, Greg Ford just dropped his head there as soon as that went up in the air. He knew he got absolutely nowhere near the contact that he wanted on it. But it dropped in no man's land safely, and the Ford brothers remain at the wicket.
They do remain at the wicket. The halfway stage of the chase. The game is still alive. A 78-run partnership between the 2 Fords has led the Munster Reds to 97 for 2 after 10 overs. I'll bid farewell for the final time this weekend. A very fond farewell to Peter Gillespie for me for the moment. One Irish legend goes out of the commentary box, and in comes another one. D.A. Lewis, the former Irish captain. Alan, I think at the halfway stage, all of us were probably a little guilty of feeling like this was game over. Is it now game on?
Well, Matt Ford is on fire and he's batting beautifully, and this is the way he plays. And in a sense, to be given license to do it, there's no point in just dying tamely in the cause. Delaney back in the attack.
Brilliant block hole Yorker from David Delaney. The trick for the Munster Reds here, though, is Greg Ford cannot afford too many more dots. He's got to just do whatever he can to keep the scoreboard moving, get his brother on strike as often as possible. He's now 17 off 18.
Without a doubt, but that's a good piece of bowling from David Delaney. Not much Greg Ford could do with that. But you're right, Andrew. Get Matt Ford down at the striker's end as quickly as you can.
He's going to hit that through the offside. It's going to come just to the left of our commentary position and cannon into our marquee. I think off a wheelbarrow or something. It's all happening. The 100's up just after the halfway stage. Delaney runs his hands through his hair. That's a really powerful stroke through the offside.
Fantastic stroke by Greg Ford and a great effort by Harry Tector there, but to no avail. That was hit with great power. Wide of Harry Tector there at mid-off.
Change up, hit through the offside. Going to be more runs here. Just the single that will bring Matt Ford onto strike. Does it speak volumes about the character that Ted Williamson's instilled in this Munster Reds side, the way they're fighting here?
I think it is. I think I was speaking to PJ Moore earlier and he said there's a great spirit in the team. And that's been exemplified here. He says they're very together as a unit. They've had terrible trouble with injuries. In reality, from the side they could be, but this is a measure of that.
Into the offside. Is this a chance? It is.
Oh, it's a great catch by Ben White out in the boundary there.
Brilliant from Ben White. The extra pace of Delaney was cut away, slashed away to the longest part of the ground. It was just dug in by Delaney, and this is a really good catch. He's 5 yards off the rope. He clings on, and with the dismissal of Matt Ford, is that Munster's small chances of chasing down this mammoth total?
You would think so, really. Matt Ford, the aggressor, but the Admiration Society will be watching with great interest in Mullingar as their Le Petit legend comes to the wicket. Fionn Hand, who will look to do much of the same, but that's a brilliant innings from Matt Ford. 57 from 30 deliveries with shots all round the ground, and he's one to watch, Matt Ford.
57 off 30, wonderful strike rate, wonderful knock, a career best in T20 cricket for Matt Ford as well. His second 50 for the Munster Reds. Remember, he was player of the match in the win over the Northwest Warriors last weekend as the Reds chased down 146. David Delaney has the breakthrough. It's a critical one. Greg Ford's going to have to find a way to up his scoring rate significantly. Fionn Hand's going to have to go right from the off because it's more than 2 a ball required.
One of the outstanding things with the Knights, their out cricket has been probably the best of any side over the course of what I've watched this weekend. Ben White there taking a great catch of it. Dropped what could only be described as a dolly yesterday, but his general ground fielding, that of Jeremy Lawler, Ross Adair, Harry Tector, they've been good. Their out cricket has been very good.
Hit into the offside, just be a single. It's been a great couple of weekends of cricket, really. Alan, we might have preferred a slightly more flatter deck, but inclement weather on the Thursday making that not possible here in Bready this weekend. But despite a pitch that's been a little tricky to bat on at points, we've had some thrilling cricket, haven't we?
Great thrilling cricket, and certainly the idea of these festivals is great for all sides. Obviously made that bit easier with the 4 teams now, of course. So each side playing 3 games, and the festival feel has been excellent. I dare say last weekend, had crowds been allowed in Pembroke over the duration of the festival, we would have a lot more interest. There was a great crowd here this morning, of course, for the home team who went down to the Leinster Lightning, and whilst the locals would have felt
Paul Sterling's going to continue. Have you ever seen a delivery bowled as slow as that one he did in the last over?
we've spoken about this 10,000 times. Totally underutilised as a bowler. Very clever cricketer, Paul Sterling, in all departments.
Slow again through the air, and clever cricket, because with this massive boundary on the leg side, the batsmen are going to have to put all the pace onto the ball themselves, so they're going to have to take a risk right from the off. Only real place to go is straight down the ground, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's where Fionhan goes. Long off is out there. That's Graham McCarter. This task getting taller by every delivery that doesn't go for 4 or 6 really right now. 117 off 51, Alan.
It's a big ask, but hats off to Matt Ford for even getting it to this point. Wonderful innings from him just earlier on.
And Greg Ford has really been the polar opposite kind of innings to the one that his brothers played. He's struggled, he hasn't been able to find his timing. 25 off 24. Might have been good for the Warriors this morning, but with the Reds' chase, just not what the Reds need, is it?
No, not at all. And it was a mammoth total, really, potentially to get anywhere near. Of course, Paul Sterling firing for the first time this weekend.
Fionhan hits down the ground. Protection out there, of course. It's Harry Tector. Just going to be a single. Haven't seen many bowlers take this tactic of real pace off. Good bravery from Sterling, such an experienced cricketer. Reading the game situation well. Flatter this time. So 12 overs gone. The score going to be 108 for 3. Let's take a look at the points table, Alan. You think it's all set up brilliantly for a third IP20 festival later in the year?
Yes, I do. I think, certainly if Camphor comes back into the Reds lineup, Tyrone Kane, he should have recovered. Maybe not Gareth Delaney. And who knows, if the Leinster Lightning aren't going to use the service of Jack Tector, which they haven't so far, would that be an option? Murray Cummins obviously missing today. But the Northern Knights could jump to 13 points there with all to play for if they get a bonus point win here. But there's going to be a need for some big overs now. Greg Ford really has to throw caution to the wind, you would think.
Ben White's going to have a change of ends. It's cannoned into the inner thigh of Fionhan. Always something happening when Fionhan's about. End up going to costing his partner a run. That bonus point you're referring to, Alan, the Munster Reds are going to need to get to 177 to deny the Northern Knights that, so still a long way to go for that as well. And it's going to be even longer with the dismissal of Greg Ford. That was a little slower through the air, so perhaps White learning from Paul Sterling a little bit, even though he's bowling leg breaks and off breaks, and the tournament's leading wicket taker continues to shine. 14 for him now over the course of 2 weekends.
Yeah, good bit of bowling that. As you say, holding that back a little, getting that little bit of in drift. And clever bowling from Ben White brings an end to Greg Ford, who never really got going. And Jack Carty coming to the wicket. He's been pushed down the order in the first 2 games. So, again, with a little bit of licence, it'll be just interesting to see how Jack Carty fares here.
Yeah, I suppose the only benefit for the Reds now, the left-hand, right-hand combination, will mean that there'll always be the potential for the shorter boundary on one side, wherever the bowler's bowling from, if they can get the right batsman on to strike. So he'll just be looking to get a single to give Fionn the chance to heave Ben White into the leg side if he can. Been a really impressive week for young Ben White. Over the course of the last 9 days, he's taken 14 wickets, economy rate about 7.5. That's absolutely fine for a leg spinner. The strike rate of those wickets, he's taking a wicket once every 9 deliveries at the moment, Alan.
That's a hellish stat. Of course, aided and abetted by that 5 that he took the previous weekend.
Nicely bowled, just slides on with the arm. Perhaps a bit of a top spinner, you could see just going across the left-hander, slip in place. That's Paul Sterling.
Yeah, wise to see that. Sterling had slipped. Looks rather deep to me, Paul Sterling, from a camera post. I think he might need to creep up a yard or two.
Yeah, White does bowl quite quick, flat leg breaks, and one of the big things he does is he bowls stump to stump. That's why he's been so effective and taken so many wickets. Hit down the ground towards our commentary position. We're in trouble here, Alan. It's going to you, and he's ducked out of the way, and he's ended up on his knees. It's clattered into him. Is he okay? He is okay. He's smiling. I thought he was in bits for a moment. It's actually knocked his microphone out of his hand as well. Alan Lewis, did you used to play cricket?
Certainly did, but I didn't know whether it was going to the roof. I took a bit of coverage. The people have come in to see am I okay. I got a little bit of a clip around the nether regions, but I'm back in action. Heatley Tector's lost the plot here.
Jack Carty, a fine 6. Could have a run out here. Big appeal. Given not out. Alan, if you had stood there and outstretched your 2 hands, you would have taken a simple catch. What happened?
Potentially, yes, but I just didn't know whether it was going to clip off the roof. You've just got to be careful. It's not easy. I'd much prefer to be out there taking the catch.
You would never believe that Alan Lewis captained Ireland at cricket, because he has ended up basically face planting onto the turf to the right of us and running away scared from the ball.
Certainly
Lord,
not.
Alan. Good Lord.
Certainly not scared, Landog.
The WhatsApps are already flooding in, floods of tears coming from Ryan Eagleson. Seen it all here over the course of 9 days. And we've saved one of the moments of the weekend for the great D.A. Lewis to very nearly, calamitously get clattered by the ball and end up diving out of the way like it was a grenade. Wow. 13 overs gone, 115 for 4.
107 to win from 42.
Back to the game, Alan, is
Let's
it?
get back to the game quick as we can.
I wonder why you want to get back to the game.
I want to know where Ryan Eagleson is right now. Probably been carried with a bag of chips.
Good Lord, I've seen it all in my time in the commentary box now. Alan Lewis, I never thought I'd see you dive out of the way of a ball coming your direction. Chuckles from the back of the box, and for good reason. Good Lord. Great shot from Jack Carty. Pumped into the deep by Fionn. This time Alan's still chuckling himself.
Great degree of hilarity here in the box. No need for it whatsoever.
It's just the fact you ended up diving like it was a grenade onto your hands.
No, but hold on a second. I thought it was going to clip the bar at the top. I didn't know where I was. Didn't know whether it was going to come into the box, out of the box, hit the television screen. What the hell it was going to do.
It was a really fine strike. That's a fine strike as well from Fionn down the ground. Has he got enough of it to run for 4? No, a good stop in the deep. The Knights, their ground fielding in particular, has been very good. This time it's a diving stop.
By McCarter.
By Graham McCarter out at long off.
Great bit of work from Graham McCarter down there. And it's been a symbol of... That's brilliant fielding, it has to be said, from Graham McCarter.
Fionn looking for the switch hit, trying to hit it down to those fans in the pavilion. They're really enjoying Paul Sterling's efforts, aren't they?
Oh, Sterlo's the man with Mark Adair.
There's still tears of laughter in the back of the commentary box here. The HPV production team. I think they've enjoyed that, Alan. Fionn's going to enjoy that. That is not a good delivery. But he only gets a single for it. Can't get it behind square far enough.
You couldn't get Dave Streak a couple of tissues there at the back by any chance.
It's been a long weekend of production,
dear.
but we've saved one of the funniest moments for the end of it.
Certainly, Peter Gillespie, Heatley Tector, Andrew Blair White to my right took great sense of hilarity out of that.
It's very well bowled. Round arm, and that's harshly given as wide. I thought that was with inside the guideline. Paul Sterling doesn't seem too perturbed by the decision. It's well bowled. I'm going to read you one here. I'm not going to let you know who this one's come in from, Alan. Louis could never catch, but he was always good at getting out of the way of anything dangerous, including the fast bowlers. I'm just going to hide who that one's come from.
It's an utterly rubbish goal from whoever it's from. Love quick bowling.
14 overs gone. 1, 2, 3 for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We had the choo-choo-choo for Richie Benno that's being chased down. 99 more to win from 36. It's going to need something miraculous. Can Fionn Hand or Jack Carty get something special going? They're going to have the extra pace of David Delaney to work with.
Are you going to reveal that source, Lenny?
I won't, Alan. I won't. Thank you.
Lenny, you're not you always love chucking the fishing rod out there with all tidbits of it. Wait till I tell you, Louis. You won't believe what I heard, but I'm not going to tell you. Like
you were
it's
gonna
the
say
Len Dog special.
I thought you were going to say that I enjoy throwing grenades, Alan, but I knew you didn't want to reference grenades after the grenade you just jumped out of the way of there.
Not.
6 overs remain, 99 more to win. Harry Tector just having a word with his young tearaway fast bowler. Fionn Hand having a stretch there at the non-striker's end.
Has to be said, not easy, Lenny, with all the equipment in front of you and various bits and pieces. It's going to make a catch quite difficult.
Hearing lots of excuses here now.
Certainly
D.A.
not.
Lewis. Carty tries to hammer that one into the leg side, ends up thudding in, I think, into that nasty region where there's no coverage underneath the thigh pad, perhaps. He'll be left with a bruise tomorrow, Carty.
Decent reply, this, from the Munster Reds. 123 for 4 into the 15th.
I wonder, was Jack Carty targeting us down here in the commentary box? Can he repeat the dose?
Well, if he does, I can assure you, I'm going to be out there taking the catch just to put things to rest. Come on, Jack. Come on, Jack.
Too short. Wide signalled. It's 2 weeks in a row now we've had balls come into the commentary box. The first one I had to save my damsel in distress, Andrew Blair White, from. It was going to cannon into his head. And the second one, you've dived out of the way of what's going on with you YMCA boys.
Certainly not. Shell classic catches. Hey, Leonard. Always looking to drive on. Can't help himself here. He can't stop giggling.
Short ball, and it's a slower ball bouncer, really well bowled by David Delaney. Good execution of skills there.
Very good execution of skills by David Delaney.
Tell us about David. In and out of the Irish team, has had his problems with injury. Up the road with the Knights. He does possess something that Irish cricket doesn't have too much of.
Turned down a contract, of course. That was the other thing, which was an awful pity when you kind of think of, you know, Josh Little, who's really made his way, taken on the challenge that professional cricket offers. David Delaney turned it down. Ouch.
Hit down towards our commentary position again, and Alan Lewis, I think, has been giving himself a little bit of a fright from that drop.
Gave you a little bit of a stir there, eh, Leonard?
Don't think I moved. Don't think I moved, Alan. Lucky that we've only got 3 more deliveries of our commentary stint, as I don't think it would last much longer. I reckon the production team will have the hook and be pulling you off air fairly shortly. It's all been a bit too much for you at the end of a long weekend.
Certainly not. Enjoyed every bit of it, Andrew Leonard.
Yeah, as we all have.
Even more so with you, my friend.
And we do love coming up here to the Northwest and bringing you this cricket. It's been a magnificent weekend. 12 matches inside 9 days. And the Knights look very much like they're closing in on a bonus point victory. The Reds are going to need more than 50 from the remaining 33 deliveries to prevent that. It's a good shot from Fionn Hand. Look at the power he possesses. How's he got that over there all the way for 4 and very nearly travelling all the way for 6?
Very
Good skills.
much so. It's this calypso style that Fionn Hand has generated, and he's whacked this over extra cover. There you are, down on the one knee. Loving it, Fionn Hand. The Admiration Society will be jumping up and down in downtown Mullingar. They must have finished their game by now.
I wonder, will Hand give us some fireworks over the last 5 overs or so here? He's going to try and repeat the dose. That's a glorious shot. There is protection out there, but he's not going to be able to cut it off. Back-to-back boundaries for Hand. I think we're going to have some late entertainment from Fionn Hand and Munster.
What a shot this is. Have a look at this, even better. There you go, down on the knees. Remind you of?
Yeah, I think AB de Villiers would be the shout that I would say there. Gets into that
Shout.
very low position.
Shout. Your generation, AB de Villiers. GC Greenwich for me.
Gordon Greenwich as well. I was thinking more 2020 cricket, modern cricket.
Didn't play 2020
He
cricket,
didn't,
Gordon
no.
Greenwich.
That's my point. AB de Villiers, very much known for that shot, getting down on one knee, getting it through the offside. Too wide outside the off stump, surely tries to make it a trio. David Delaney not happy with that, but that for me clearly a wide delivery.
Can you think of the cricketers of that era that would have loved T20 cricket?
Oh, Isaac Vivian, Alexander Richards, the primary one. Ian Terence Botham would have as well, of course. But yeah, that one clearly a wide for me, Alan. Well outside the guideline, and Fionn standing in his normal position. Gets another ball to try and get away. Expensive over this from Delaney. Gonna get a full toss, and Fionn calls for two. He will get back, I think. He's got to get going. Just about gets home. Good fitness, good pace from hand. So 15 overs gone, 136 for 4, and for the good of all concerned, it's going to end our commentary stint after a memorable moment. But I'm glad to report that D.A. Lewis to my right is fine. I'll make sure he's okay. We'll bid him farewell and we'll pass over to Peter Gillespie and Andrew Blair-White.
Well, that was one of the more eventful 5 over stints to not be in the commentary box. Seeing D.A. Lewis on hands and knees trying to avoid that 6 from Jack Carty.
Yeah, we got out at a good time, Andrew. And I think Louis will replay that one over in his head a few times, and that'll make it onto the Alan Lewis storyboard.
No, we're just getting the excuse board at the moment why he hasn't caught it. The flap of the marquee coming into question, the mic in front of him. Any excuse he can find, he's going to get as we see Mark Adair come back into the attack. And you think they're going to fall short here, the Munster Reds, but you have to be impressed with the way they've tried to approach this run chase. They've really given it a very good shot.
Absolutely, Andrew. I mean, when you're up against such a monumental task, there's only one thing you can do, and that's throw everything at it, and Munster Reds have certainly given it as best as could. And the scoring rate's just below 10s, but that doesn't tell the whole story.
That's a good shot from Jack Carty. Has it gone all the way? Maybe it has gone all the way. Umpire Alan Neal signals 6, and Jack Carty is really in the groove today. He's almost taken Alan Lewis's head off. He's now plundered a second big 6 over the mid-wicket region.
Yeah, it's been the case a few times this weekend. Knights employing the tactic of full and wide, trying to hide it out there away from that short boundary, but credit to Carty there. He stepped across the stumps, just got it on the low full toss and put it away nicely for a maximum.
And good cricket from Fionn there. Just a small misfield from Neil Rock behind the stumps, and hands through like a flash for a single. He's been very busy at the crease. Makes things happen, but yeah, no, the Munster Reds have really given this a very good go. An excellent innings from Matt Ford earlier in the innings.
Yeah, it was great to watch. He was the only Reds batsman that really dominated in the way they needed to. And I think when he was there were still a keen interest. Mark Adair's figures slightly spoiled by that maximum. Was sitting on 2 for not very many off his first 2 overs, but he's come back now at a completely different stage of the game where batsmen are throwing caution into the wind.
Thuds into the pad of Fionn. To scamper through for a single. Maybe a small inside edge on that.
Yeah.
Oh, Neil not signalling anything.
Sounded like a little noise there. Brings Carty back on strike though. He'll be keen again to look leg side. Look at that short boundary. Again, the field set for the wide full delivery. David Delaney in front of us almost as a very, very, very fly slip.
It's a full toss from Adair. Carty will be disappointed he hasn't got that away. But good work again from Fionn Hand. Scampering back for 2. Keeping the Northern Knights fielders honest all the way here. As I say, Carty just mistiming that slightly. He's onto 20 from 13. Good little knock this.
Yeah, McCarter will be disappointed there. It's one of the smaller areas of the ground to concede 2 runs. He did slightly cloth that. It was there, it was in the slot. Low full toss again and just missed out.
Again, not completely out of the screws, but it's going to be another 2. This time to the right hand of Graham McCarter. Carty put his head up in frustration. He knows there was a couple of opportunities to get a few potentially maximums away. Another expensive over, as we've seen plenty of in this game. 14 from it. Munster Reds 150 for 4, and they need 72 from 4 overs.
Yeah, and it's all uphill from here, Andrew, as we see Pretorius being brought back into the attack by skipper Harry Tector. And it's hard to see what else they can do here. As you say, it's been a good little cameo from these two. But with every ball, with every over, the task just gets stiffer and stiffer.
It does. You'd have to think Pretorius is going to adopt the same tactics that he has done so previously. Bowling that wide line, Yorker length delivery, back deep backward point, deep cover out again. Square leg in the ring. Fionn Hand just hit that off the splice. It's landed in the middle of Adair and Jeremy Lawler out there. A rocket arm from Mark Adair back in. All in all, a single in the end.
Yeah, you called it wide and full again. Doing what the captain has asked, bowling to his field. Can't ask any more at this stage. Certainly any notions the Knights had of a bonus point win are evaporating here with this staunch effort from the Munster Reds. Some entertainment at the end of a weekend's cricket.
That's a brilliant pull shot from Jack Carty. It's gone all the way again. A third 6 for Carty. He moves to 28. This is why he's in this team. Carty's been slightly stuck at the crease in prior innings. He's got a new lease of life with this run chase, and that's a beautiful pull shot.
Yeah, really got round on it there very well. Torres just didn't get it right at all. Sat up nicely for Carty, swung around, got good connection with it. 6 runs resulting. 28 from 15. It's a good little cameo here.
That's going to be 4 more. And again on the pads of Carty, and he's flipped it away past Graham McCarter. Short, fine leg. 61 now required off 21 deliveries, and does still look a massive ask, but not impossible.
Absolutely not. And that shot brought up a very good 50 partnership between these two. In quickish time. It's keeping them interested, keeping the game alive.
Again, whips it away, but fine leg is back now, and that's just going to be the one. Carty, 33 off 17 deliveries, really trying his best to keep the Reds in this game. Free-flowing strokes. Two lovely pull shots. Straight sixes as well. 60 off 20 for the Reds. As I say, it does seem a monumental task.
Yeah, well, they've taken 12 off the first 4 deliveries of this over, so.
Fionn Hand's done excellently there. He's gotten across. Good inventive batting from Hand. Another boundary from him. 16 so far off this over. They needed 18 and over. They've almost got it for this one. Superb batting from Hand. He's taken this from almost the wide line and plundered it past square leg in the ring. Empty boundary out there to go for 4.
Great improvisation from Fionn Hand there. Not afraid to get down on one knee to the seam bowler.
The call was 2 off the bat. Dave Delaney, that's excellent fielding. Really excellent fielding, keeping that to a single. Alright, completes the 17th over. The Munster Reds, 167 for 4. They've given this a really, really good effort. They still need 55 runs from 3 overs, though.
Yeah, they've done everything that they could. They've tried to keep in check with what was a phenomenal run rate. And 4 wickets have just kept them in check. Matt Ford got going. Batted superbly. And these two now trying to keep up with that as best they can.
Yeah, Ben White coming back into the attack. The leg spinner. Potentially an opportunity for him to take a few wickets, but Harry Tector will just want a tight over here to really make sure that this game is dead and buried. Fionn Hand's gone for the reverse. That's an excellent shot. It's a 1-bounce 4 down towards the pavilion. The Munster Reds really aren't just out of this game yet.
Yeah, and he goes again. Down on one knee. This time it's the reverse. Just helping along with the spin. Ball moving away. Got into a good position there. Got a 4.
He's gone for it again. It's 4 runs again. Brilliant batting from Fionn Hand. He brings up back-to-back boundaries. The Munster Reds now need 47 off 16. And this game, we were on commentary for the Warriors versus the Knights earlier this weekend. That game looked like it was meandering towards a finish until a massive 17th over. The last 2 overs are getting the Reds right back in this.
Yeah, this is fantastic stuff. Great entertainment at the end of a long weekend. Nothing more than you can ask for. The Munster Reds have given it everything and continue to do so.
And keeps in his normal stance there. It's a single down towards long off. The good thing about this right-left hand strategy is that you've always got some man that's going to be hitting towards that smaller boundary, though.
Yeah, and it's a smart play. We've seen it a number of times this weekend. And I don't think Ben White's going to be relishing turning the ball into the left-handed Carty with the short boundary on his leg side. Whenever they're in search of boundaries.
That's really well bowled from White. Really, really well bowled. Ballsy delivery. Tossed it up slightly. Gave Carty the opportunity to try and slog sweep. Beaten all ends up.
He's got underneath that one. High in the air chance. And comfortably taken. Jack Carty departs. Marvellous little cameo. 33 of 19 deliveries. But as you said, Ben White, not afraid to toss it up. And gets his reward.
Yeah, it's excellent bowling from Ben White. He's really kept his nerve there. Easy with the left-hander, trying to hit to that short leg side boundary to try to just dart it in. But he's invited Carty to go after it. And he perishes. A good innings though, 33 from 19 deliveries, 3 big sixes in there as well. Good stuff from the Merrion all-rounder, but you'd think that his wicket really is the nail in the coffin there. Short-lived hope for the Munster Reds. Well bowled to Ben White.
That wicket brings Alistair Frost to the crease. Fionn Hand, as he crossed as that ball went high in the air. Hand will have to plough a lone furrow now.
He's tried to improvise there. He's tried to get it over. The short, fine leg fielder. He's up missing it. Excellent from Ben White. Went from 8 from his first 2 deliveries of that over. Gets out of the over, just going for 9. And that surely is that for the Munster Reds. They're 176 for 5 with 2 to go. They need 46 from 12.
Yeah. A massive uphill task has just got more difficult with that wicket. Carney batted well for his 30-odd. But Munster Reds will feel that any hope they had now is disappearing fast. With Fionn Hand still at the crease, they're certainly going to try everything that they can to chase down these remaining 46 runs. But with 12 balls remaining, and Mark Adair back into the attack from the pavilion end. His 3 overs so far have cost him 26 runs, but he's picked up 2 wickets. We'll be looking for him to close this game out now.
Strong shot from Ali Frost. Just a single. Harry Tector putting himself into a prime position out there at deep cover. Excellent arm, just a single.
Frost trying hard to get back on strike there. You would think that he'd be quite happy to let his batting partner Fionn Hand, who's 33 from 17 deliveries, take as many of these remaining balls as possible. Wide and full, obviously the tactic again from Mark Adair.
What an unbelievable shot from Fionn Hand. We've seen him do this against the spinners before. He's reverse ramped this over short third man. It's been another spectacular innings from him. 37 now from 18 deliveries. And watch this back, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, wide right on that guideline. But fantastic technique to keep his head still. It's really watch the ball onto the bat. And again, he's accessing the ground 360. Not afraid to play shots, whether it's down in one knee, it's square leg, over the top, reverse ramps. The Fionn Hand Appreciation Society will be in full voice this evening.
Good comeback there from Adair, right in the block hole. And can only find Dave Delaney an extra cover there. The Northern Knights will be happy with this. After 2 disappointing defeats to start their weekend, they're going to keep themselves alive in this IP20 series.
Slower ball from Mark Adair. Frost trying to get in the improvisation action. Just sees that one sail over his shoulder. And another dot. Another step closer to the Knights' victory.
Well bowled again. from Mark Adair and Rowley Black. Just to not give this one a wide. He was probably on that wide line.
Yeah, there's so much movement from the batsman these days. It's very hard for the umpire. I know those lines are a guideline, but then you have to judge if the batsman's moving back towards leg side, moving across. Where does that line move with the batsman? How much leeway does he give the bowler?
Well, he doesn't give them that much leeway. Mark Adair hasn't pitched that, I don't think, on the cut strip. Trying another slower delivery. That just didn't come out right at all.
Improvisation this time from the bowler. I think possibly looked like an attempted slower ball bouncer, but that ball just got completely stuck in his hand and trundled through in a couple of bounces to the keeper, Neil Rock.
Frost. That's that one down to long on, just the single though. Good over from Mark Adair. He's usually very good at the death, and no different today.
Barring a couple of wides or no balls, the impossible is required from Munster Reds. They need 38 off the last over, and you could almost just dolly up to the wicket and toss it down the other end. Andrew, make sure you don't get, as I say, any wides or no balls, and this game is as good as done.
Well, even I could bowl in this situation and still be assured of a win. Been told to steady from the back of the marquee. Those that know my medium pacers would understand why people are telling me to steady.
As it is, they've brought someone considerably quicker into the attack for the last over from the Mason Road. The Clontarf speedster, David Delaney, is going to close out the match here. 38 required, although 5 wickets in hand. The Reds have got up to 184 for 5. The Knights would have had that bonus point win at the back of their minds, but fair play to the Reds for their efforts in this reply.
Yeah, it's been a really gallant effort in this run chase from the Munster Reds. They were always going to be up against us, chasing a score like 221. It's always going to be too much. They've equipped themselves very well. Good execution from Delaney there. Frost getting it out to deep cover. Few men, the likes of Matt Ford, Jack Carty, Fionn Hand, can all be very happy with their efforts with the bat.
Yeah. It would have taken something special to overcome that phenomenal total from the Knights, our highest IP20 score, and unfortunately Munster Reds, as you say, although it was a gallant effort, they've just not been up to the task in this second innings.
Again, Fionn Hand trying to improvise there. A little bit of sloppiness allows them to get through for 2.
Well, there's very few bowlers that I would even attempt to reverse lap, and David Delaney's definitely not one of them. Fionn Hand's a braver man than I ever am, that's for sure.
He's on 40 not out hand. From a personal point of view, he may be spying at half century. That's well bowled. Very well bowled from David Delaney. Good change in pace. Again, his figure's probably not reflecting how he's bowled today. Delaney, after the first over that went for 13, he's fought back quite well.
I know we're in a competitive fixture, so it's hard to talk otherwise, but I'm sure just a lot of the Irish cricket fraternity would be just glad to see him back fit, firing, bowling somewhere near his full pace.
So that's what I mean. That's quite unlucky for Dave Delaney. top edge from Fionn Hand's bat. That can happen when you're bowling at that sort of speed. He just flung the bat on it straight over Neil Rock's head and away for a boundary.
Yeah, he's really given everything in that delivery. But as you say, at that speed, you get anything on it at all, it's just very, very hard to stop. Fionn Hand benefits with another boundary. He's 44 off 22 with 2 deliveries to go.
It's well bowled. Well bowled from Dave Delaney again into the pitch. Slower delivery. Good change up. Scramble through for a bye. It's going to be a good win for the Northern Knights there.
Finishes with a lovely 6-over extra cover. Delaney not bothered to go back off his full run up there. Just wants to get the game finished. Frost says, I'll have that, thank you very much. Finishes the innings with a maximum. But Northern Knights comfortable winners here on the last match of the festival weekend, ending on 198 and for 5.
Yeah, 23-run victory for the Northern Knights, propelling them back up to 3rd position in the IP20 series. They still have a good chance. Now, the Northwest Warriors, the only side to have won 4 from their 6 games. The Knights and the Lightning with 3 wins and 3 defeats apiece. And the Munster Reds with 2 wins and 4 defeats. So good to see such competitive cricket on show in this IP20 series. And a very good finishing match. They're very exciting finishing game this weekend. 221 playing 198. Some super innings in there. Jeremy Lawler, Matt Ford, Fionn Hand at the end with Jack Carty for the Munster Reds. Paul Sterling, obviously, with his 46 from just 23 deliveries, got us kick-started. And I never looked back from those first few overs. The Northern Knights scored 72 in the power play, and they pretty much kept up that pace throughout the entire innings.
Yeah, another day of 2 halves, Andrew. The first game between the Northwest Warriors and the Leinster Lightning really dominated, a low-scoring affair, really dominated by the bowlers, by the ball, whether it was conditions dictated so or not. But the second match has produced 400 runs in 40 overs. And as you say, a great spectacle to finish the weekend. Some fantastic performances today. Young Gavin Hoey, man of the match in the first game with 4 great overs of leg spin. And here now, as we see the match summary, Jeremy Lawler with that fantastic innings of 81 from 42 deliveries. Backed up by Paul Sterling, 46 of 23.
Yeah, and even good contributions at the back end from Ross Adair. And Ruin Pretorius right at the end put on a handy partnership to get the Knights up to 221 for 6. Matt Ford the star with the ball for them, 2 for 31 from 4. A few figures that a couple of bowlers maybe won't want to look at again too many times. The Munster Reds, excellent in their run chase really, 198. That would have won every single other game this weekend, but 23 runs short. Matt Ford, 57 with the bat, 44 not out for Fionn Hand, alongside some contributions from both Jack Carty and Greg Ford.
Yeah, good all-round game from Matt Ford there. As I said, picked up the 2 wickets. Really kept his team in the hunt. And one of the reasons why this game went down to the 20th over, 57 off 30. Comfortable enough in the end, Andrew, despite the gallant effort from the Munster Reds.
Yeah, it's been a magnificent weekend of action here up in Bready. Brilliant accommodating people up here. Brilliant efforts to get the games in on Friday. And then we've had 2 beautiful days of sunshine here on Saturday and Sunday as well to add to it. I suppose, Peter, your main takeaways from the weekend?
The festival, the spectacle. Really enjoyed it. You know, we have to remember the horrendous weather conditions that the ground staff faced on Thursday. Torrential rain for pretty much most of the day. To get the ground in such great condition. Every match is seem to be different. Nothing's really followed the same course, whether that's been inconsistency or not. But, another festival weekend under the belt. Some more performances, some more food for thought for the selectors. And to be honest, from what I've seen this weekend, I wouldn't envy their task when they sit down now to pick these sides for the upcoming South Africa and Zimbabwe series. And good luck to Andrew White and his band of merry men.
Yeah, a brilliant way to finish off the IP20 festival up here in Bready. And our final honours of the day go to Andrew Leonard, who's at the Player of the Match presentation, and we'll find out who the Player of the Match is very shortly.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. And what a great 9 days we've had. 12 matches in 9 days, entertainment on and off the pitch. Plenty of big hitting, lots of wicket taking, and lots of men putting their name into contention for selection into the Green of Ireland. And no more so than in this final, the 12th match of the series. 419 runs, 11 wickets, as the Knights have moved third in the table with a 23-run victory over a very valiant Munster Red side. For them in defeat in the Player of the Match considerations, we had Matt Ford 2 for 31 and 57 off just 30 deliveries. A sparkling knock, 44 not out for Fionn Hand, as he continues to entertain in his role as Munster's talisman. But it was always going to be someone from the Northern Knights that we were going to have to select. Paul Sterling, 46 off just 23 deliveries, 2 wickets for both Mark Adair and the tournament's leading wicket taker Ben White. But the Player of the Match goes to a very happy man, Jeremy Lawler. A magnificent knock, 81 off 42 deliveries, 11 fours and 4 sixes. He must be delighted.
Yeah, no, it was extremely important we got that win today, and to find that knock there to go and help that, especially the result, the way it went this morning. We knew that would be such an important game for us, and to get over the line there was extremely pleasing.
It's been a topsy-turvy 9 days for the Knights. A couple of the defeats have been really heavy ones, but it's been a topsy-turvy few days for yourself as well. You hurt your ankle down in Pembroke, you missed out in a couple of the games.
Yeah, no, I think it's been a bit of an up and down season for us so far in the T20s. We spoke about this morning just about trying to enjoy it again and trying to find that spark, and we went a long way to doing that. Obviously, someone like Sturlo is such a big player for us, and when he gets off to a platform like that, it just gives everyone else the freedom to go out there and play. But no, like I said, just delighted to get back on winning, and being the last game of the weekend as well, we go off with it with a smile on our face.
Must make a big difference when Paul Sterling goes absolutely crazy, pongoing the ball everywhere to start with. Does it make your job much easier?
Oh, absolutely. When you got a talent like that and he goes off the way he does, it makes the job a lot easier. You saw what he did when we chased that score down against the Lightning in the 50 over game. He makes a huge difference when he gets off to a platform like that. Like I said, it allows the younger guys to come in and just bat around him. But no, it was absolutely fantastic to watch.
Someone commented you looked maybe a little more at home in the 50 over game, but I think you've shown over the course of the last 9 days you've got a real power hitting game. You've got very fast hands, fast wrists. That's something you've been working on a lot, to add sixes and fours into your range of hitting.
No, definitely. I think if you look at the way that Irish cricket's set up, it's heavily set up in white ball, both 50 over and T20. I think if you just pocket yourself to one, you're going to give yourself a lot less chances. So no, it's definitely something I've been working on, and it's nice to see it come off today.
Seems like after what might have been a disappointing tour all around, and personally for yourself of Bangladesh, you've come back with a bang and you're putting yourself right in the mix for Irish selection. Do you feel like you're kind of on the verge of making that breakthrough at some point soon?
Oh, I'm not sure. That's not really for me to decide or anything. All I can do is go out there and try and put performances in, when given the opportunity with the Knights or club cricket or whatever it is. Obviously the Bangladesh tour was disappointing on a personal note. I just said to myself I wanted to come back here and keep putting my name forward and keep trying to put in performances.
What are you looking forward to for the rest of the summer? One more IP50 game, and then you're looking forward to the third of these festivals as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think that game on Wednesday becomes really important. Back at North Down, which is usually a good wicket as well, so it'd be a great chance for us to get another victory in that. Playing against the same opposition as well, which was a great game there. So no, really looking forward to it.
Jeremy, congratulations on your Player of the Match award.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations as well to the Northern Knights, because they have moved third in the table. Going to give you a quick rundown of that table. The Northwest Warriors, of course, their top 4 wins and 2 losses, 18 points for them. The Lightning, 3 wins and 3 losses, 13 points. The Knights, 3 losses, 3 wins, 12 points. They haven't picked up the bonus point here this afternoon. The Munster Reds, they're bottom, but they've performed incredibly admirably with all of those injuries and all of those difficulties that they've had. They prop the table up at the moment, but they still have 8 points, so it's all to play for in the IP20. And we're going to be back with you with more action in just a couple of days' time. Wednesday the 30th of June, it's going to be the Knights versus the Reds, as Jeremy Lawler said across to my left. We'll be back with every ball of that in the IP50. We thank you for watching from all the way around the world. So for me, Andrew Leonard, for Alan Lewis, who I think is still double checking whether he's all right after that ball nearly cannon into his head that Jack Carty clubbed over to him, from Peter Gillespie, from Andrew Blair White, from everyone in the HBV Studios team. We really do appreciate your support, all your messages, and we're going to be back with you on Wednesday. We'll see you there.
Time to embrace the giant spirit of Derry Londonderry. Visit discovernorthernireland.com.
Smash It and It's Wicked are new action-packed fun programmes for kids to try out cricket at your club.
Attract new players and coaches to your club and grow the sport of cricket in Ireland.
Smash It is for children aged 5 to 9 and is all about having fun, trying out batting, bowling, fielding and wicket keeping.
It's Wicket is for girls aged 9 to 13 and is built on game-based cricket fun with friends.
Programmes contain 6 to 8 sessions of fun and safe training for kids.
Clubs will receive all the equipment you will need for your sessions.
And free activator training is provided to all clubs interested. Activators will receive free programming resources and an activator top and t-shirt.
Get your club involved today and have fun introducing more kids to cricket.
Sign your club up now.
Why cricket? Cricket is a great sport for all children regardless of gender, age or ability.
It's also a non-contact sport which promotes teamwork and individual skill development.
Participation is all about getting children active and excited about cricket through discovery and play. But this can't happen without a little bit of help, and that's where you come in.
Smash It and It's Wicket. Rely on volunteers like you. As an activator, you will plan and deliver safe, fun and inclusive sessions that promote participation and create great experiences.
The importance of your role as an activator cannot be underestimated. You will help ensure that there is a new generation of players, fans, umpires, coaches, scorers and cricket leaders.